would really bother me. Good morning, host police. Welcome to your
Hi,
live. I
missed you.
appreciate you letting me be part of it. Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be around that jacket. Also,
I I knew you were gonna love it. This is like a giant hug though. Like you want to feel it's not a snuggie. It has a zipper just for the record, but it's like wow, having a giant hug on. It's like an anxiety jacket.
I don't blame you for needing a giant hug today. After I know you were just sitting there watching the same thing I was watching.
What
So
in God's name is going on Capitol Hill right now? Like it's so embarrassing that these are adult human beings. What Nancy Mace should be ashamed of herself. Like, talk about just trying to get on Hannity. You know what I mean? They're all waiting for their 5 minutes so they could scream insane things. Margarine was so mad Hunter left before she got to scream in his face. He just got up and left, and she was furious.
the Democrats are 10 steps ahead of the Republicans, and it's beautiful. I appreciated Nancy Mace not only invoking white privilege, but
Oh my God, she
also
yelled
saying
white privilege.
when somebody tried to, I think it was somebody was trying to ask for a point of, I don't know if it's a point of privilege or parliamentary
Point of
inquiry.
order. Yeah, point of
I
order.
can't
or
remember,
something.
but she's like, "Are women not allowed to speak?" It's like, no, this is how this works, you fucking idiot. This is how this whole thing works.
They don't know the
Is
rules. They don't know. They don't
no.
know.
Every time Marge tries to interrupt too, she says the wrong thing. So
I
like
know.
parliamentary inquiry, they're like,
Like, that's not
okay,
a
and she's
thing.
like, he can't say that. That's not a parliamentary
It's not a
inquiry,
thing,
ma'am.
Margarine. That's like the response every time she speaks in these hearings. No, that's not a thing. Like, you just yelled something. Those aren't things that you can yell in
Where's
these
her
hearings.
aide? Everybody has aides, it appears, except for Margarine.
I know, like, doing
Margarine
research.
shows up and is just like, I got this. I know what I'm doing, and
I
never
think she's
knows what she's
threatened.
doing.
I think she's threatened, like, she won't hire anyone smarter than her. So her aides are just like, you know what I mean? They're
Just
just
children.
like,
She just has
yeah.
toddlers running around.
Yeah, and in case anyone's like, what are you guys talking about? Sorry, Hunter Biden showed up to Capitol Hill today for his contempt hearing. Like they didn't know he was coming and is just sitting in the audience and infuriating the Republicans. Like they lost their mind. They're like foaming at the mouth, screaming at him.
Yeah, and there, look, I thought Moskowitz, I'm sure, I know you sent me this video, so I'm sure you'll make a video on it later.
Oh, I
But
made it. Or
Moskowitz
I
was
made like
brilliant.
three.
He's
Oh
like,
my
I will
God, isn't he?
absolutely hold Hunter in contempt, but here's the catch. Here's six other subpoenas that people in this room didn't comply with, and we just they need to comply to. That's it. We're not putting you in jail. We're just going to ask you to come here and answer some questions, just like you're asking everybody else to. And the Republican defense is just one thing. They're all this is how you know it's coordinated. Every single one of them, their defense has been Donald Trump Jr. Testified 6 times. Cool. About
Oh
what? Was he
God.
accused of something? No, he was just a material witness. There was nothing. There was no reason for him to believe that they were trying to charge him with something. There was no games like the Republicans have played, where they're like, "Oh, you cannot do this openly. You can't do it openly." Reminder to the Republicans that are here: your party refuses to depose Hunter Biden unless it's secret. That's it. They won't do it. They won't show you. All of us want transparency. You guys, you're asking for Hunter Biden, but your party won't do this publicly. And there's a good reason for that, as we covered yesterday. By the way, we missed you yesterday.
I was gonna say, did any Republicans take responsibility for the hypocrisy of the Epstein stuff?
Yes, they all did. They all showed up to say we were wrong. We're hypocrites. Every one of them, uniformly, just showed
I
up and said
figured.
we were
I
wrong.
figured.
Yeah. No, we had Eric showed up and yelled for a while and then ran out
Oh,
of gas.
not Eric. Oh, Eric. Yeah, that's like the classic. I'm sure he was just out of his mind. Never
He just ran out of
stops.
gas at the end. It was pretty funny. He was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll see
Oh,
you
did he
later."
run out of YouTube videos to try to play?
I didn't let him play the YouTube videos. He was just going down like it got to the point he first brought up some documentary about the Clintons and an Epic Times documentary that he loved.
Oh no, epic. Is it epic? Is that how you say that word? Is it epoch?
I've heard
What?
epoch and epic. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know what it is, but why they who is paying for that publication? I mean, obviously a far right wacko, but I have seen billboards all over Arizona. There's one that just got put up
Yeah.
right by my house in Phoenix for Epic or Epoch, whatever times, and like some weird documentary. Somebody is funding that.
Well, his argument was that Ashley Babbitt, that was a, can I say schmurder? Schmurdered. And his evidence for that was a police officer, not a Capitol police officer, not a police officer who was there at the time, just a regular ass police officer who was quoted in the documentary as saying they should have been charged with schmurder. That was the whole thing. That's the evidence that they're going with. Here is a police officer that wasn't involved and is just a police officer somewhere who thinks this is schmurder. And I was trying to explain to him how police officers don't charge people with schmurder and how regularly when they've come
That's
on
their
this
expert
program,
witness.
yeah, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and it's not their job to necessarily
They
understand.
they
any of
don't
that
know what
stuff.
circumstantial evidence is.
Yeah, yeah, all of that.
The law,
So
yeah.
that was the gist of the
Why
argument. It was
understand the law when you're a
nonsense.
police officer? You know?
Yeah, that's not the point. That was the point I was.
I was
going
going to say
make
the
is-
thing yesterday. I wanted to also ask the Ray Epps thing yesterday.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
Ray
yeah.
Epps thing, yes. You know, Ray Epps got a year probation. You know, because it started with Ray Epps is Antifa, so they won't ever charge him. Then he got charged, and they're like, "Oh, but he's Antifa, so they won't recommend jail time." Then I just want to make it clear that the DOJ, the prosecutor, recommended jail time for Ray Epps. Now the judge didn't give it to him, but the DOJ tried to make Ray Epps go to jail. Sorry, I just have to say that because
Well, Charlie Kirk was very
With
upset
Ray
about
Epps.
that yesterday. Did you see what
Oh
Charlie
my
Kirk had to
God.
say about that?
Yeah, poor Charlie. Charlie's losing his mind.
Yeah.
I don't
Here,
think.
so
Charlie's
for those
gonna
who
make
didn't
much
see it, he
longer
said-
at this rate.
So far, there are 467 other January 6th defendants who have also pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge. Even among this class of lowest level offenders, about half of them received jail time with an average sentence of close to 2 months. So here's what he's saying. 467 people also pled guilty to misdemeanor charges. Half of them had jail time. The other half didn't. Ray Epps didn't go in the building. Ray Epps stood outside and screamed. That's basically
Yeah, he did
the
not.
line that has been drawn between jail time and not jail time. People that broke the barriers but didn't enter the building largely have not received jail time. That's why this judge gave Ray Epps this sentence. And like you said, Republicans have never been able to figure out who the fuck Ray Epps is, or like, is he Antifa? Is he a patriot? Was he there because he supports Donald Trump? Was he there because he wanted to get people to be caught? Like, I don't
They
know
ruined his
what
life.
the Republican story is, but he was treated exactly how he should have been treated. He was charged. They recommended jail time. The judge looked
Yeah,
at
and
all
this
the
is
other
the
cases
bottom
and
line.
said, well,
Like,
you can't.
Ron Phillip. Oh, sorry.
That was it.
Ron Filipkowski, who is a lawyer, by the way, not just the editor in chief, like a political strategist and the editor in chief of Midas Touch, but he is a lawyer. And he said that this is what he said about this, and I thought it was really intelligent, and I want to say it. This is my new perspective on this whole thing. The government asked for jail time. Epps never went inside the police barriers, attempted to de-escalate things between officers and rioters 5 different times, turned himself in, pled guilty, and cooperated by giving a sworn statement. Want leniency from a judge? That's how you get it.
Yeah, cooperate and show that you weren't as bad as everybody else. Perfect. But yeah, we're still very upset about Ray Epps. Charlie Kirk is just
And
upset
it's
about
the
everything.
bottom
though.
line. I know.
They also
He's
claimed
losing his mind.
Hunter
I'm gonna
Biden.
play though. I have to.
Sorry, did you see when Hunter left that Comer was like, "I guess you're afraid of my words." No,
Yeah.
nobody. There's never been a human on Earth
they were like
that's
booing
afraid
him.
of. Yeah. Did they boo him? I missed that
James
when he left.
Comer. Yeah.
Of course.
No, but they were enraged. No, listen, let me play you. Listen to this 10. I have like 10 seconds of Margarine screaming, I think. Hold on. Wait. Oh, do I have it? Yeah, I have it in. I have it in the outline. I'll use that.
I've got the clip of him recognizing Marge and then him walking out. Do you want me to just play it? I've got it up.
Well, no, I want to play her. Listen, no, it's this. This is a little different. This is her losing her. This is what she said. Like when like he walked out because he didn't want her to get like the split screen screaming at him, you know. So he walked out, and this is what she said during. It's just 10 seconds. But
sits here with a smug look on his face and runs away when it's my turn to talk. Not only is he a criminal, but he is a coward.
Margarine. Oh, it's just the irony. Can somebody please? I can't do this. Like, how are we even supposed to talk about this stuff? I can't with this woman.
She has figured out a way also to bring Ashley Babbitt into every conversation. She brought that up here too. That there's like the main theme before I had to step away was the two-tier justice system, and the two-tier justice system is apparently that the police officer who was investigated, there was an internal investigation. And by the way, easiest internal investigation ever. There was footage that literally everybody had seen. Like nobody didn't see that footage of Ashley Babbitt. There are multiple warnings from the officer saying, if you come through that window, you will be shot. And then they're like, no. And, and the crowd's calling they're like, you're pussies, you won't shoot. And then she went through and they did. That's the easiest investigation anybody has ever had. And Marge is like, there was never any charges. There was never any court case. It's like, yeah, no shit. It was easy. You didn't need to go to court for this one. This was an easy one.
I know. What is it called? Justified? Is it justified, shootings or whatever? Yeah, like literally it's on tape. it's right there. Just watch the tape. That's a justified.
But that's
Union
the
Gang, I don't think you know who he is, but he's like a retired Marine. Union Gang's like a creator. He's like a retired Marine, and he explained it really well. Like he did like 5 tours or something in Iraq. I mean, this guy's like legit, and he was just explaining, like that, like once you're trying to leave like the last line of defense, like she was breaking through like the last line of security, and he's like, that's the point where you unalive people. Like that was the last person in between her and Congress people. Like there's no other option at that point.
Yeah, I played the clip. I played the clip that you had yesterday. What was the Troy Nels? Where he's just sitting there. He's just sitting there telling them like that they should be ashamed of themselves, that he's ashamed of them, and then he's out here now like defending it like Ashley Babbitt was some hero. It's like, dude, you're right there. He was mad that somebody said he had a gun, but he's right there telling them how awful they are. And that was one of the things in the hearing this morning that just drives me insane about Republicans. All of this stuff's on tape too. You can go back and you can see what they said on January 6th. Every one of them was scared. Every one of them denounced it. The best thing
about the anniversary was pulling up everyone's old tweets and God.
And these same people that were shitting their pants are like, oh, what? So you can't go visit the Capitol anymore? It's like, all right. That's a little bit of a change.
You can't go on a guided tour?
What? You can't just stand outside and scream that we're going to hang Mike Pence? You just can't do that anymore? What happened to free speech?
It's so ridiculous. Let's play Nancy Mace's clip from this morning for everyone.
Please.
Okay, and then we can play, and then I have Jared Moskowitz's response, the subpoenas and his response to Nancy. But Nancy Mace was one of the Free Dumb Caucus members that got a crack at Hunter Biden while he was sitting in the hearing, and she just went completely out of her mind.
First of all, my first question is, who brought Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
if the gentle lady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Because you keep interrupting me.
I'll interrupt the chairman. I don't know that he's a lady.
I think think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come on.
And the premise that the law applies.
Hunter Biden should go straight to. I hope you're right behind him,
Straight to
Nancy. I
jail.
wish she wore her Scarlet A shirt today. Just,
Come to congressional subpoena, straight to jail.
it's so insane that these people have the nerve to say this stuff out loud and don't think it's crazy. Like, oh my god.
I
Good to see you
appreciate it.
after a long break. I'm listening to the gentlelady from South Carolina about the witness being afraid to come in front of the committee. It's interesting. He's here. He doesn't seem to be too afraid. In fact,
It's so funny. Okay, and here's the best
Question
part.
is, who brought Hunter Biden
Oh
to
wait,
be
sorry, I
here
just
today?
played the wrong. I just played that one. My bad. Oh, I have to get it up though. 1 second.
Just while you're pulling that up, I'm just curious.
I'll make this bipartisan. I'll vote
Sorry.
for the
When we talk about white privilege, the six congressmen who also ignored their congressional
Yeah.
subpoenas, were they white? Was that also white privilege? I'm not sure what white privilege is. This, if anything,
know.
Hunter Biden, if you want to accuse him of anything, like maybe nepotism. If you want to accuse these congressmen of anything, maybe it's like congressional privilege. But for this, like, I don't even know how this
Congressional
is white
privilege.
Yeah,
Isn't it
what
weird
is the
how she
fucking-
uses
everybody in this scenario is fucking white. There is no
No.
privilege if you're all white.
Yeah, it's she literally think about it. She's like, "Oh, are women allowed to speak?" Like she tried to fit in misogyny. It's so interesting how they try to use these buzzwords, you know, like from the left, and they're like desperate to sort of conscript them and change their meaning. You know, make it's unbelievable.
It's like
Okay,
everybody in Congress is HVAC.
Now,
Like,
when you
they
hear-
just misuse words and terms, like
HVAC is back. He mentioned me
I
in a
talked to
post
him,
yesterday. Yeah, he's he's apparently back on the internet. Yeah, so when you guys hear this, what you're about to hear, which is Jared Moskowitz like losing his mind, just picture him holding up subpoenas, waving them around.
Listen, I'll make this bipartisan. I'll vote for the Hunter contempt today. You can get my vote. You can get my vote. But I want you to show the American people that you're serious. Here is the subpoena to Representative Scott Perry, who did not comply. I'd like to enter this into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mark Meadows. I'd like to enter this into the record, who did not comply. Here is the subpoena to Jim Jordan, who did not comply with a lawful subpoena. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mo Brooks, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mr. Biggs, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. And here's the subpoena to Mr. McCarthy, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. There's an amendment coming to add some of those names into the contempt order. You vote to add those names and show the American people that we apply the law equally, not just when it's Democrats, right? It's a crime when it's Democrats, but when it's Trump and the Republicans, it's just fine. No, show that you're serious and that everyone is not above the law. Vote for that amendment, and I'll vote for the Hunter Biden contempt. I yield back.
Preach, Jared, preach.
when you get into these Republican lives today, because they're waiting for their talking points. I don't remember this guy's name. It's his first day it's his first day on the oversight committee. I don't remember what his name was. I've never seen him in my life. He's also remarkably fucking stupid. Like, one thing about the Republicans when you watch this is they're all reading something. Every single one of them is just reading something from a script, and it sounds exactly the same. But their defense for these 6 people who defied congressional subpoenas is the speech or debate clause. That's they're saying that, well, you can't subpoena people within Congress because of the speech and debate clause, because that's all we would do is subpoena people in Congress. Well, bad news. We've done this many times. People in Congress have been subpoenaed many times, and they have testified. But just to be clear, the speech and debate clause, it's Article 1, Section 6, Clause 1. It states, the senators and representatives of Congress shall in all cases except treason, felony, and breach of the peace be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and in going to and from same, and for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. It only keeps them from being arrested. That's it. It's the only, there's a whole thing with the speech and debate clause. So when your Republican friends bring this up, just remember, this is about being arrested, and this is about basically having some leeway with what you say while you are representing your people. It allows you to make arguments, and mostly it's been used so that people aren't held for something they say that's untrue. So they can't be charged for something that they're untrue, or that they say that's untrue. Otherwise, it just limits speech, and people might just say something wrong, and then they'll be removed from Congress. It's a good clause. It's there for a reason, but in no way is this intended to prevent people in Congress from complying with subpoenas.
It's just so ironic that the subpoena dodgers are the ones yelling loudest. You know what I mean? I can't. It's so ironic.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, and I have to play, well, I need to play the Scott Perry one. I need to play Dan Goldman thank you for the crown. I love crowns. Dan Goldman, we love Dan Goldman. He's like one of the only capitalists I can stand, right? He may be rich, but at least he's in Congress doing the work of the people.
I also like that Dan Goldman has had
Scott Perry to shreds.
Sorry. I also like that Dan Goldman has had the hair of a 75-year-old man for 20 years. Dan Goldman's hair has been preparing for a life in Congress his entire life. He's got the swoop. He's got the part. Dan Goldman looks like somebody that will be in Congress for like 150 years.
He does. He belongs there. Like he should never ever be anywhere else.
This is a game for these folks.
Sure,
they want to support their guy. They don't care about America. They don't care about what the president's doing to destroy America. They're just locking arms to support their guy.
My friend from Pennsylvania also chastises us for just supporting our guy. And I wonder how he would define supporting our guy. Would he define supporting our guy as trying to instigate a coup at the Department of Justice to install a lackey and remove the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General so that he could keep his guy in office even though he lost? Is that just supporting our guy? Because that's what Mr. Perry did.
That this is a game.
I love Dan Goldman. I could never get enough. Him and Jared Moskowitz, the gift that keeps on giving. Oh, and Jasmine Crockett brought the house down. Another legal eagle. Did you hear what Jasmine Crockett was yelling about?
I love Jasmine Crockett because she knows what she's talking about, right? I believe she's an attorney. Is that correct?
Yeah, she's an attorney.
And I don't know what she practiced. But the thing I love the most about Jasmine Crockett is she does not speak like an attorney. She gets everything right. She has all the structure there, but she doesn't speak like an attorney. She's not boring anybody. And I think it's beautiful because her not speaking like an attorney allows MAGA, the people there that she's insulting, to be insulted. It's dumbed down enough that they understand what she's saying. And I think it's on purpose. Like, she purposely dumbs down her language so that the insults hit. If you use too big of words on these MAGA Republicans, they won't understand your insults. And Jasmine Crockett's ability to go largely off script, by the way. Like, she obviously has points that she wants to cover, but she's not reading off a script. She's an incredible orator, and everybody understands what she's saying. You don't have to be like a policy nerd or a C-SPAN nerd.
Her and Moskowitz and Jasmine Crockett, they started in she started in the Texas State House, and he started in the Florida State House, which there are Republican supermajorities. So, like, I've heard people describe it like Moskowitz has been fighting, with a supermajority, just like they call it Jared Moskowitz time in the Florida State House, because he would just put on these like shows of just screaming and embarrassing everyone. And same with Jasmine Crockett. She was, I believe, a prosecutor, and then in the Texas State House, fought against the supermajority. And you can tell because they're just right at home, in these combative situations. Okay, and by the way, let's tap the screen and also let's share the live so we can get to the For You page. So I'm going to play Jasmine Crockett's clip, and while I do, tap the screen. Let's get to 50K.
I was just looking at her.
Juries are comprised of American citizens, and the people that have entered pleas of guilty that will be flipping on your leader in a minute, they are Republicans. I do want to point that out. And half of them were Republicans that were handpicked by Donald Trump himself. So, to be clear, whatever happens to your little leader, it's going to be because of the actions that he took. So you can talk all you want to about how January 6th was nonsense, but all of y'all were running at that time. Y'all were grabbing y'all's gas masks and y'all were running to your offices because you didn't know if they were coming to kill you. You should have cared that somebody was there to protect you, but instead your leader decided that he wanted to propagate an insurrection on our country. So don't tell me that you care about the Constitution, because you don't. All you care about is Trump getting reelected, and I'll yield the last of my time to my leader.
Thank you very much, Ms. Crockett, for your eloquent and powerful and irrefutable remarks.
I love JB Raskin. JB Raskin is the ranking member today. And he's just, the just sly sarcasm from him. I just cannot get enough of this man.
He was so happy with Jasmine Crockett. Like, he doesn't do a lot of smiling, but he could barely contain his smile as she handed the time over to him. And he's just like, thank you so much. By the way, let's talk about Jasmine Crockett. Check this out.
Your irrefutable remarks, like, just amazing.
Yeah, as an undergraduate, Crockett planned to become an anesthesiologist or CPA before deciding to attend law school, a decision she made after she was the victim of a hate crime while attending college. She went on to University of Houston Law Center, where she got her JD. After law school, she worked as a public defender in Bowie County before establishing her own firm. And during the George Floyd protests, Crockett and her associates took on pro bono cases of multiple Black Lives Matter activists. Like, she was fucking
awesome,
born for this. She was born for this. And every time she gets the mic, it's like, all right, everybody shut up for a second. We got Jasmine time.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, that's what I just keep saying. And like, it's like Jamie Raskin is like, Nick Saban. He's like the coach of the team. And you could just tell how proud he is. Like, every time Jasmine speaks, every time Jared Moskowitz drives James Comer to the point where his face is so red, he can barely contain himself. Like, I just can't get enough of it. This is like watching the Super Bowl. If you're not into C-SPAN, I'm telling you, C-SPAN is the new Super Bowl. Like, you need to watch it.
And Jamie Raskin is an absolute pro at poking the bear. James Comer does this thing. I've never seen actually anybody like James Comer as the chair. James Comer regularly will, if you watch him, he will regularly suspend order and just like give himself 5 minutes to talk and just like address certain things. He's cutting off everybody's time, like right on the number, if they're Democrats, and he's not doing it to Republicans. So every time Raskin has a timer there, and Raskin just keeps going, that's time, that's time, that's time. And he'll just chide Comer every time, and Comer's face gets red and angry every time. Comer may not make it. Comer's blood pressure is so high that it's easy, like it's oozing out of his body. I've never seen somebody who I could read their blood pressure by their face. It's like, oh, 250. That's not good. That's not good, Comer. You could just see it. He's not doing well.
It's crazy how they don't learn. Everywhere. That's what's interesting about these people is like every hearing, it's like the Democrats get better. You know what I mean? Like it's like clockwork. You know what I mean? This is like a well-rehearsed, well-oiled machine. And it's like literally it started out with the Twitter hearings. They couldn't beat them in the first oversight hearings, when this was new. And now the Democrats are a well-oiled machine. I don't know why they are attempting to do this stuff, but like Jamie Raskin. You know how James Comer was like, or was it not James Comer, or was it Nancy Mace who's like, who brought him here? Because I think you have to be the guest of someone.
I think it was Mace. I don't think, I know it wasn't Comer, but why did I think, I thought it was
you have to be
else,
the guest of someone. I think that's, what I mean, to get into a hearing or like someone has to, like, I wonder who, because, Comer is always referring to Goldman and Moskowitz as Hunter Biden's attorneys.
And trust
So
fund
it's like,
baby.
which one of them was like, come sit here and drive the Republicans insane? And it worked. They lost their minds.
Also, Goldman Hunter would do well if Goldman and Moskowitz were their attorneys. At every by the way, did you ever read the Did you read through that whole transcript from Devin Archer's deposition?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so Goldman literally, like every page, Goldman is catching them in a lie. Every single page, even just their questioning. Goldman, I think the Republicans had like 4 or 5 different attorneys there, and Goldman had himself and some staff. It was just him and staff, and he just took care of business on his own. By the way, he had gotten the information the night before. He didn't even have the information. Like, they were springing stuff on him, and he's so much smarter than them that he caught them in lie after lie after lie, and even would go back. The thing that I was so impressed with is that the Republicans would ask questions in a way that would give Archer would give an answer that was a little bit ambiguous in the way they would answer the question. And Goldman was amazing at going back and restructuring the question and getting Archer to say in his own words, yeah, Joe Biden had nothing to do with this. Yes, Joe Biden never discussed business. Like, 'cause the Republicans would be like, do you recall any specific instances where he discussed business? And he's like, yeah, I don't really recall. And they're like, okay. Well, and so then he would go back and be like, did he? Like, no, he didn't. Goldman's incredible.
He's a fabulous litigator. I don't know what his job on the oversight and accountability team is, but yeah, he's like the official, I don't want to call it fact checker, but yeah, he's the lead like litigator. Like, it's his job during the hearings to call out like, points of order, and like when people are, he has like every rule of the oversight and accountability hearing memorized, and the ones he don't, he brings like a team, of other people to like, who have like the rule books just ready to go.
He's like the coolest.
Fabulous.
He's like the best nerd. Maybe not the coolest, but he's the best nerd there. He's a great nerd.
Makes you want to be a lawyer when you see it, like these people. It's
By the way,
like,
Felice, are you on Wi-Fi or are you on your cell service? Because you broke up a few times. I keep meaning to. It shows that you have 3 bars. So a couple times it's broken up a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to change.
While we're waiting for Felice to fix her internet, hey, how is everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. During this break, I'd like to also announce that tonight we will be hosting the pillow fight between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. That will take place at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. Eastern. I've been working on my time zones. So you can catch us on YouTube. If you don't have the link to our YouTube, that link is in my bio in the Linktree Discord. We will send out an invite, and we'll be hosting that and providing some commentary, and then staying a little bit after to do some commentary after the debate. Should be a fucking shit show. Looking forward to it.
How many? There's a shit show every night. There's a town hall every night. There's just someone embarrassing themselves every night. I can't wait. It should be another fabulous day. I wanted to ask you a question about, so I was listening. So what happened yesterday when I wasn't here with the whole presidential immunity hearing? That was embarrassing, right? The judges ran him over. But I heard Chris Hayes frame it in a really interesting way, and I won't play the whole clip because I'm on number 6 in the outline if you want if you're curious. But I won't play the whole clip because it's like 3 minutes. But Chris Hayes did an amazing intro on his show last night. He's also a lawyer, and he was just basically the point was just 35 votes in the Senate, and there is no crime. You can murder for hire, whatever you want. 35 votes in the Senate, you can do anything you want. 35 votes. You can never be held accountable.
Yeah, and what they're saying, because of the filibuster, right? Like, that's really all you need. You just basically need 35 votes to stop anything from happening, which you have 35 votes. I think you should play it because I've been up pretty early and pounding water. So I'm going to take an early pee break, and I listen to this. I think you should play it, and then I will be right back. While she's pulling this up, I just want to make a quick announcement. Kim covered it earlier. If you're going to watch the debate tonight, look, we love having you on YouTube. We love having you comment. But our mod team is incredible. They create, every time there's a debate or an event, they create a bingo card, and they will provide you a bingo card in the Discord, and you can play along, laugh along with the people in the Discord, filling out the bingo card of catchphrases, things that they assume that Republicans are going to say. It's a very fun game. Maybe we'll even work out some prizes today. But mod team, if we can figure out some prizes, maybe we can do that. But if you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. It's the best way to watch these debates. It's unfiltered. You can say whatever words you want, and nobody's going to block you. So join the Discord if you haven't. If you want to join the Discord, it's free. We never charge for that. Send me or Jen a message. Jen, if you want to send a comment, she runs our Discord. We'll get you in there as quick as possible. All right. Now I'm ready.
That's such a great idea. Bingo. I love that. Great idea, mods. It's going to be so fun. I want one. Okay. So I'm going to play. This is Chris Hayes talking about the presidential immunity claim or hearing yesterday.
Position of Donald Trump is that as long as he or any president can hold on to 35 votes in the Senate to avoid impeachment conviction, there can be no, as a matter of constitutional bedrock American law, there can be no criminal accountability for anything he does, no matter how violent or evil. Even as his lawyer was forced to concede having his political opponents murdered.
Could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6?
He would have to be and would speedily be, impeached and convicted before the criminal prosecution.
What if he weren't? There would be no criminal prosecution, no criminal liability for that?
Chief Justice's opinion in Marbury against Madison and our Constitutional tradition and the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause all clearly presuppose that what the founders were concerned about was not.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under our.
There's nothing worse. So the answer is clearly no, and he keeps saying qualified yes, which I think is my new least favorite two words. If I hear someone say qualified yes one more time ever again in life, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Constitution, which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate.
Again, all you got to do is hold on to 35 votes. You hold on to 35 votes in the Senate and you can have your political opponents murdered. You can have anyone murdered. You could do whatever you want. You got 35 votes in the Senate, and there is nothing anyone can do anywhere in this country under the structure they say of the Constitution. They are not trying to hide it. So.
Yep. Anyways, it's longer, but you get the point. 35 votes.
This is what I think is tough for Republicans, and I if I'm going to offer an olive branch, I'm an asshole, but I do understand. I do understand that this puts you in a very difficult place. If you're a conservative, you have conservative views, even if I hate your views, right? You have one option to vote for as far as people who will represent your views. And unfortunately, the same people who are representing your views are held hostage by one person. So because of that, because you guys have allowed yourself to become the party of Trump, the party of MAGA, where everybody is beholden to one person, you now have representatives who are forced to convince themselves that what they're doing isn't anti-American, isn't anti-Constitution, isn't opening the gates to fascism. You literally have people here in the Republican Party who are making the argument consistently, and Chris Hayes does a great job laying that out, that the president should be exempt from being prosecuted for crimes. That is a dangerous precedent to set. If you set that precedent, you will have a president for life. You will have Putin. And just so you know, Republicans, Donald Trump doesn't have a ton of time left on this earth. Donald Trump could be president and bring in fascism. But Donald Trump is going to surround himself with loyalists. Donald Trump is going to surround himself with people who don't give a fuck what he said, which means the worst of the worst are going to be the people in office and in his cabinet. It will be white nationalists. It will be Christian nationalists. It will be fascists. It will be anarchists. Those are the people who will be loyal to Trump because, like the guest said yesterday or the other day, was it Hunter? Was that his name? He said, like, I like Trump because Trump
Harvey?
Harvey. Trump is the most likely person to bring this whole thing crashing down. They want that destruction, but be careful what you wish for, because I know that you don't like how things are going now, and I know that, like, it seems good to start over, but you guys aren't, your opinions aren't the majority. So if we win, you guys are fucked. Like, everything you like, you're fucked. Like, yeah, we will literally, but just hire trans people to walk around and be in your life. That's what we will do. We will, and we will. They will be the highest paid people.
Reading you bedtime stories.
Yes, we will literally be shoving it down your throat. That's what we will be doing. But more seriously, if you wind up with somebody like Steve Bannon as a real advisor, you wind up with somebody like Ron DeSantis, you wind up with somebody like Matt Gaetz, people who have no feelings and are power hungry, you will quickly wind up in a fascist state very, very quickly. And as much as you guys think that you like that now because they agree with your views, nobody likes living in a fascist state except for like 10 people. You do not want to be in a state that is controlled by fascists. These people that, like Jorge Masvidal, a UFC fighter, I saw an interview of him yesterday. He's saying these Democrats don't know what they're talking about. I come from Cuba. I know all about communism. I know all about socialism. They don't want this. Well, the reason your family left Cuba is because of fascism. Right? Or I guess maybe not fascist, but dictatorial
authoritarian,
control. Authoritarianism. Yeah. And fascism is just another subgenre of that. It's just far right. What you're advocating for is very similar to what happened in Cuba. The things that you hated in Cuba, you're incorrectly identifying as communism and socialism and missing the part that there was a dictator there. The dictator is the problem, and Republicans, the Republican Party is a dictatorship now, and they're advocating that our country be a dictatorship.
Amen. Oh, you know what I want to, if you scroll to the bottom of the outline, did you see yesterday the Aaron Rodgers stuff? Did you see that he answered Jimmy Kimmel? And he's really? Oh my God, it's so much worse than you're even imagining.
How did I miss this?
Like, okay. Yeah, I know, because so much is going on. Like, it was just swept under the rug because just this news cycle, the last 24 hours.
I used to really like Aaron Rodgers. I really did. I wanted it. I loved it. I was like, this is a guy. He's a straight shooter.
So, like I said, scored so high on the Wonderlic. He's like he's very intelligent. He's very intelligent. And then Wisconsin happened. What? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. He was in northern Wisconsin for too long. And next thing you know.
It's COVID. COVID has ruined so many people.
Yeah, COVID is when he really got radicalized. Like,
which
that's
is fair.
When you were like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, it's fair. It took these people who have a real fear of big pharma. And look, Aaron Rodgers lives in a world that abuses pharmaceuticals. The NFL has been sued tons of times. They used to have a drug called Toradol that basically, I've taken Toradol. Or I've had I think it was a Toradol injection. I might be mixing that up now.
Feel no pain.
I was immobile with my back. I had a back injury, and we had 2 games left, and I got an injection. I'm pretty sure it was Toradol. I didn't feel anything. My back was completely fine until the Toradol wore off, and then it was fucked beyond belief. But he's in an industry where people are on painkillers. They get hooked on painkillers. When they leave the NFL, they have a hard time getting off painkillers. So I understand Aaron Rodgers, a person who takes great care to take care of his body and his mind. He's one of the people that was like, hey, we got to protect quarterbacks. Like he's the first guy when he gets hit late to get up and talk to the referee. Like he does care about his brain and his body, and he doesn't want to just be used. So I appreciated that. He's been outspoken about the NFL just using people and abusing them and then spitting them out. So he was like this warrior. So I understand the idea that like I don't like big pharma and I don't trust the people that are giving us the information, but unfortunately he was wrong, and his wrongness pushed him into the alt-right, and everybody else rejected him, and we've talked about he's just down the alt-right pipeline now, to the point now where he's doing Epstein conspiracy shit.
I just think, yeah, like this is the thing about sports, and like what I think Aaron Rodgers got away from. Like when you play a team sport, like you're in a community, like you're not doing things just for yourself anymore. Like you're doing what's best for your teammates. And at some point, I think around COVID, Aaron Rodgers became an eye. You know what I mean? Not a teammate. But I do agree with that. Like you have to, he's trying to protect his head and neck. The poor man's collarbone is like a twig. It snaps. You pat Aaron Rodgers on the shoulder, his collarbone snaps in half. The man. Like, what is going on with this man's collarbone? Like, somebody investigate that. Sorry, but let me play this clip.
Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. I was no, that was mean spirited, but it made me laugh.
No, his collarbone it's something's going on there. He has a problem. His collarbone has osteoporosis. Okay, so Aaron Rodgers is back on what's his name, Pat McAfee's show, and the whole thing happened. Well, if you don't know the Jimmy Kimmel feud, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, what can I say? Like he inferred basically when the Epstein stuff came out, he was on Pat McAfee shows and basically implied that Jimmy Kimmel is one of the people who was hanging out on Jeffrey Epstein's island. Let's put it that way. And today, the new story is, you're not going to believe this. It's not, I'm sorry. It's, I'm not stupid enough to have ever said that. I didn't say it, even though he said it on air and we all listened to it. So listen to Aaron Rodgers is just so, I don't know what's happened to him, but it's like, we all heard it, Aaron.
Myself here. A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't come out. End quote. That's what I said. That's the entire quote. Okay? I was referring to the fact that if there is a list, which again, this hasn't come out yet, this was just a deposition, right? And there are names on it, then that would be the second time that a soft brain junior college student, wacko, anti-vax, anti-Semite, purveyor, spreader of misinformation, conspiracy theorist, MAGA, whatever other things have been said by him and other people in the media would be right twice. Now, let me just say that is the truth, number one. Number two, I totally understand how serious an allegation of pedophilia would be. So for him to be upset about that, I get it. Did you watch the quote? Because that's exactly what I said. Verbatim what I said on the show. Okay? I'm not stupid enough, even though you think I'm an idiot, and you made a lot of comments about my intelligence, but I'm not stupid enough to accuse you of that with absolutely zero evidence, concrete evidence. That's ridiculous. So I'm glad, and I think we can agree on something, is that one, those crimes are heinous, and two, I'm glad you're on the list because those I'm quoting myself.
It's unbelievable. Do you know what I'm saying?
Let's play the clip. I've got it pulled up. Let's play the clip and let's decide whether or not the way Aaron Rodgers just framed what he said is true. Let's just.
He's not stupid enough to have said what he to have implied.
Yeah, let's just hear the words.
And convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein while appearing on ESPN's Pat McAfee show.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
Rodgers was referring to court documents that.
Now, shit, I didn't have it clipped where I thought it was. Maybe I'll find it. So the question was asked, was he just excited about the Epstein list? And he said, yes, I can't wait to see who's on that list. A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that it's not released. That's what he said. Like, what other inference can you draw from that? This is a cowardly walk back by Aaron Rodgers. When all Aaron Rodgers really needs to say is like, yeah, I shouldn't have fucking said that. You're right. Like these are ridiculous charges. I shouldn't have said that. I've got a feud with Jimmy Kimmel. He's made fun of me in the past. I thought this was an opportunity to get back out of him, and it was in poor taste. That's all you really needed to say. But to pretend that that's not what you meant, everybody knew what you meant. He said it with a little smirk on his face. Even Pat McAfee, who's hosting the show, is like, whoa. Like everybody around him realized how outrageous what he was saying was. It's a really cowardly move by Aaron Rodgers to try and walk it back in the way that he is, like he didn't do anything wrong. And it also just goes along with every MAGA, every conservative, this entire MAGA movement. You say something, it's shitty, it's wrong, it's upsetting, and when you're confronted with it, you pretend you meant something else, but you never do. You think that when the cameras were off, he wasn't like, yeah, I hope Jimmy Kimmel gets taken down. I hope Jimmy Kimmel's name's on that list. And then all those jokes he made about me, I'm going to have the last laugh. Like, I've been there. Look, there's certain people on this app that make accusations about me. There's things I don't say. And you better believe that, like, there will be a little bit of joy for me if accusations come out and turn out to be true about them. I'll be like, yeah, serves you right. Maybe you shouldn't talk shit so much. Like, we're all like that. We're all petty. We're all a little bit bitchy. Just admit it. Just admit that you're being a little bitchy. We've all been there.
No, it's absolutely true. Well, so listen to that. You remember what's that woman's name who used to be on ESPN? Is it Jamila? Jamila Hill?
Jamel Hill.
Jamal. Is that how you say her name? Jamal.
Yeah.
Okay, Jamal. Okay, so she was on CNN. You know, it's not great. A lot of people on there are not great, but Abby Phillip, the anchor, I love her. So she what is it? How do you say her name again? Jamel. Okay, got it. Okay, Jamel. This is Jamel's commentary on Aaron Rodgers.
Is annoying is that he's on a weekly mainstream media platform complaining about the mainstream media censoring him. Sir, you're not silenced. It's just that people think a lot of the things that come out of your mouth are stupid. What really is annoying is that he's on a weekly mainstream media platform complaining about the mainstream media censoring him. Sir, you're not silenced. It's just that people think a lot of the things that come out of your...
Anyways, that's basically it. But she's right.
Yeah, when was Aaron Rodgers censored? When was he not able to have a mic?
He said because of the COVID stuff, I think, is what she's referring to, you know.
Yeah, and he had a mic all the time. People confuse being canceled and being censored with criticism. He was wildly criticized, and criticized because what he said was fucking stupid and it wasn't backed by the science. If you're going to go out and you're going to take a position, even if you wind up being right, which he didn't, if you're going to take an anti-science position and you know that you don't have the backing of science and you just have like your feelings or a hunch or a narrative that you're following, that's fine. You have the absolute right to do that. And there are times in this world when people come out and they take a position against science, against the norms, and they turn out to be right. And before they turn out to be right, they are heavily criticized, and rightfully so. And when it turns out that they're right, it gets flipped, and they are then viewed as heroes. But all these people who come out and say shit that's wrong, they want to be viewed as heroes, even though the science hasn't backed them up. That's the problem here, Aaron Rodgers. You took a shitty stance that you still can't back up, and people were critical of you, but nobody ever silenced you. Goddamn, dude, you're the quarterback for the New York Jets. It's the biggest market in the country. You signed for millions of dollars. You're on the #1 sports podcast every single week. A guy, your friend, Pat McAfee, who, by the way, I love. I know people don't like Pat McAfee, but I love Pat McAfee. I think Pat McAfee...
You do?
I do. Look, I think that, like, as an entertainer, his job is sports. He's great at sports. He is great at entertaining people. And then he doesn't... When Aaron Rodgers comes on, he lets Aaron Rodgers talk. He doesn't validate what Aaron Rodgers is saying. He goes out of his way to be like, I just want to be clear that this is Aaron's opinion and not mine. He was the one that made the Brett Favre story big. Pat McAfee is the reason that most of us know what Brett Favre did. He's
about
the #1
the
sports
welfare,
podcast, and
stealing welfare
Yeah.
money from Mississippi. Yeah,
he went after another legend, and said like, hey, don't steal from poor people. You're stealing from poor people. You're a scumbag. So I have a lot of respect for Pat McAfee, but he will platform virtually anybody. He's not in politics. And for Aaron Rodgers to pretend he's silenced when he literally has a full day of a show every single week it blows my mind.
That's why, yeah, he's platformed constantly all the time. He needs to be quiet. I completely agree with that. But yeah, I haven't watched Pat McAfee's show. I'm gonna check that out because I actually don't. I'm just usually watch the Kelseys, but I'm gonna check.
It's similar. He has a similar. He has a similar vibe of the Kelseys. It's a little bit more bro humor, but it's like palatable bro humor for me. Like they stick the broiness to sports, and they don't usually venture outside of that. They'll obviously let Aaron Rodgers venture outside of that, but I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee. I think he's incredible. I think he's completely changed sports broadcasting. He's completely changed sports podcasting. He took over the game, and he's just a dude that was a punter. He's very self-aware.
He was a punter.
Yeah, he was the punter for the Colts. He's one of the greatest punters of all time.
His neck is like the circumference of his neck is like 3 feet. I'm surprised he's a punter. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, no, I love Pat McAfee.
He looks like a linebacker.
He's like the only cool punter ever. You don't know any other punters.
I dated
like
one.
The only punter anybody knows.
God. He was not cool, just for the record. Just in case anyone's curious. The Daily Beast has an article today called "The So-Called Free Speech Absolutist." Musk's platform axed several high-profile accounts on Tuesday morning, only to reverse course amid criticism. Like, he deleted the accounts, or whatever you call it when you get rid of people on Twitter. The accounts of a bunch of, I believe, like journalists. Here we go. A number of prominent. Oh, stop with the ads popping up. Why does this keep happening? Sorry, 1 second. A number of prominent left-leaning X-users who've been highly critical. This article keeps opening. Okay, there it goes. Oh, there's a paywall. That's what it is. Anyways, he basically...
Let me pull it up I've got it on the Daily Beast. So a number of prominent left-leaning X-users who've been highly critical of billionaires Elon Musk and Bill Ackman, as well as the Israeli military action in Gaza, were suddenly and inexplicably banned on Tuesday by the social media platform. Among those suspended were Intercept national security reporter Ken Klippenstein and Texas Observer journalist Stephen Monticelli. Additionally, other booted accounts with high follower counts included the True Anon podcast, which is an unbelievable podcast, Twitch streamer Rob Rousseau, another great one, Ryan Sheed, Zay Squirrel, and the Liam Neeson.
He's great.
It's spelled differently. Yeah, I don't know
it's like a parody account.
While no explanation or reason was immediately given for the suspension, speculation immediately arose that those users' overt criticism of Musk and Ackman, who helped lead a right-wing push to oust Harvard President Claudine Gay and has since bullied media outlets for reporting on his wife's plagiarism, was behind the bans. Klippenstein... Klippenstein, when his account was reinstated, tweeted just simply, "I lived, bitch," which is unbelievable.
Elon Musk is like, I'm not going to wait till Trump's reelected. I'm just going to get started with the fascism. You know what I mean? Like, Elon Musk can't wait for the fascist takeover so he can silence the media at any moment. This is scary what he's doing.
It's very scary.
When he first took over Twitter, he deleted a bunch of journalists, a couple New York Times journalists even. It's terrifying.
Liam Neeson advised, please use #SissySpaceX or #FreeLiamNeeson in your tweets today.
If you don't follow that account, follow him. He's hilarious. That guy is hilarious.
Look, Elon is running out lefties. When we talked yesterday about when Brandon was on, he said one of the ways that we could help him was by following him on Twitter, retweeting his stuff. And I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised by the amount of people in the comments that were like, no, I left Twitter. I boycott Twitter. It really is a place where people on the left are having a hard time staying. And what's his face?
Klippenstein or Liam Neeson?
Klippenstein said it's just pathetically ironic that Elon Musk is purging the few remaining left-wing accounts who stuck around, because we really do believe in an open exchange of ideas, even with people we vehemently disagree with. You know, who doesn't actually believe in that? Elon Musk. And it's true.
Same. Well, yeah, and I need to actually, this is good to mention because they're talking about Claudine Gay, the Harvard president who was essentially deposed. And I just want to apologize because my take on that prior was just like, oh, people have citation errors in their doctoral theses all the time. Okay, I should have done more research in it. Okay, so she didn't have any errors in her doctoral thesis. This is complete propaganda. There's a great... Do you want me to actually let me find it? There's a a doctor of something, some guy who has a doctorate, and he made this amazing TikTok that I bookmarked, I believe. God, there's so many ads on TikTok now. It's unbelievable. And
well, if you pay him like $15 a month, you can get rid of those ads.
TikTok?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Twitter.
Oh,
sorry.
I was like, can we? I probably might. I actually might pay for an ad-free TikTok. Let's see where. Oh, here we go.
Here's what you need to know about the Claudine Gay plagiarism scandal. It's bullshit. Let me explain. Christopher Rufo, he's the guy that started the critical race theory panic. This is his thing. So he dropped this Twitter thread in which he claimed to prove that Claudine Gay had plagiarized her thesis while she was studying for a PhD at Harvard. This supposed bombshell hinges on two claims. First is that Claudine Gay plagiarized her thesis advisor. Here's the thing. Your thesis advisor is your co-author, not some source you found on the internet. Plagiarism is passing off someone else's work as your own work. A thesis advisor knows the difference between their own work and their students' work. That's kind of their job. And there's inevitably a lot of overlap between the professor's work and the student's work. That's the nature of the advisor-advisee relationship. Claudine Gay's thesis advisor, Gary King, knew full well which parts of Claudine Gay's thesis were derived from his work. There is no plausible way that Claudine Gay tried to pass off her thesis advisor's work as her own. Like, it's just stupid. Now, if you point this out to somebody who's already made up their mind that Claudine Gay is a plagiarist, they will immediately pivot to the second claim, which I'll get to in just a second. But first, consider the pivot, because it gives away the whole game. When you point out how ridiculous it is to claim that Claudine Gay plagiarized her thesis advisor on her thesis, I haven't seen anybody try to defend that claim. They just pivot to the other one. What does that tell you? They didn't believe the first claim. They don't believe the second one either. That's not the point. The point is to stack up as many...
Okay, I can explain the second claim. I just wanted to go over cite something properly, which Claudine Gay, like they're using, but the problem is they're using APA citations from like 2016, the last APA rules. Claudine Gay wrote her thesis in 1997, and the APA citation rules for 1997 she has followed correctly, but this guy Rufo is just using like 2016 APA format, saying she didn't format something correctly. And it's even worse than that. We're not talking about something in the actual thesis, okay? Not something in the body of her thesis. There's a separate section called methods where you explain the actual research methods and things that you used in order to write your thesis. And she quotes directly the method, right? Like it's like 4 words. There's no other way to define it, and has the citation correct for 1997 APA citations, but he uses 2016. So again, we're not even talking about the body of her thesis. We're talking about the method section when she is citing other doctoral or another paper. Needs an update on Scary Fake. She is $1 million behind in fundraising. Ruben Gallego. Isn't that great news?
Especially in Arizona, We are not a grassroots state.
Oh, and we need to check on her defamation case too, because she's Rudy colluding too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's going to end up like Rudy, owing a bunch of money she doesn't have.
Yeah, we are not a state, generally speaking, that does a lot, especially for the highest offices. We are not a grassroots state, and she is an establishment candidate at this point. Like, the establishment now is MAGA, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. You guys are now the rhinos. Congratulations.
She is highly funded. She is highly owned by corporate interests. She does not come off to most people as authentic or honest. And there are people in this state. We have a lot of Republicans in this state who are willing to pull funding or give funding to somebody else. We had, I don't know if you listened at all yesterday, but Brandon came on, who switched. He's running against Andy Biggs now.
Oh, I know who you've told me about that, but I missed it because I want to meet him. I still haven't met. I don't know who that is, but
well, we're gonna do some stuff with him. But we were where was I going with that? Oh, we were talking about we were looking at District 5, and there's a guy named Clint Smith, who I believe is a member at my golf course. If it's the same guy, there is a Clint Smith at my golf course. Mormon, Republican, BYU graduate, Arizona State graduate, lawyer. Literally the exact same credentials as Andy Biggs, and he's running as an independent.
Andy Biggs is a lawyer.
Well, ish. He wasn't a very good lawyer, and then they won Publishers Clearinghouse, and then he went into public service. He became a state legislator. But anyways,
we have Clint on Twitter and harass him.
We have Clint Smith, and I know probably the biggest donor in the East Valley, a guy that's he's the president of the Thunderbirds. He has stopped funding Republicans. He hates Andy Biggs. And so there is a lot of money that is not going to go to Kari Lake, and they will find ways to funnel that money to Gallegos or to some independent challenger, so they can still get their they can still get their power, they can still have their seat at the table, they still get their write-offs, but they don't have to fund lunatics like Kari Lake and Andy Biggs. That is a big deal for Kari Lake to be down $1 million.
Oh yeah, she's raised 2.1. Yeah, it's looking very good for us. Her Democrat challenger has raised 3.5. Let's go. Wait, is it 3? Sorry, ads keep popping. 3.3. Anyways, but I was gonna say, go to Smith for AZ. That's Clint Smith's Twitter, and he's just dragging Andy Biggs. There's his last tweet. Who has the best one-word explanation of these two conflicting posts? And there are two tweets from Andy Biggs. The first one says, "What happened to the presumption of innocence principle? The House just expelled a member without a criminal conviction for the first time since the Civil War. We still don't know much about Mr. Santos, but his expulsion sets a dangerous precedent." Then the second one says, "A bank laundering investigator revealed in emails that Chinese payments to Joe Biden appear erratic and have no current business purpose. Joe 100% knew about, participated in, and benefited from his family cashing in on the Biden name in China. Time to impeach." And he said, who has the best one-word explanation of these two conflicting posts? And that's because, why? I'm confused. Do you understand? Or did you go to his page?
No, I honestly was trying to text somebody to find out if this is the same Clint Smith. Because if this is the same Clint Smith, I think we might be able to get him on
Is he short or tall? Because his picture is two people, and I don't know which one he is.
He's an older guy, gray hair.
Okay, so he's older,
yeah, he's roughly the same age as Andy Biggs.
Oh, okay, yeah, then that makes sense, because the other guy looks not that old. The other guy looks like almost Adam Kinzinger.
Okay, yeah, if you go to his webpage, which is ClintSmithForCongress.com,
yeah.
He actually looks like Andy Biggs. Like, they look
he
very,
does.
very similar.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That face. Why is that the first thing on the website when you pop up? Like, just his giant head? I don't think that's working. That's scary. We should definitely get involved in trying to unseat Andy Biggs. I will go door knocking in that district. I really will. I will go door to door. I mean, we basically should just be Mormon missionaries on bicycles. Just ride bicycles around with backpacks.
There's he'd laugh at that joke. We should maybe call. I'm gonna get in touch with him. Get to the next story. I'm gonna send a text message real quick. I think this is somebody that I know. Let me just
Clint
check real
Smith?
quick. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's move along. Sorry, I'm going to go to the end of this. Oh yeah, so I mean, I think it's worth mentioning, and there's bigger articles about this stuff in the I think Washington Post had one, but just talking about all the violence going on around Trump's trials. Like, if you don't know, Jack Smith was swatted. You know, if you don't know what SWAT means, like the SWAT team, someone called the SWAT team to his house on Christmas Day, and Chutkin was just swatted like 2 days ago. So. And there's many more examples. Obviously, there's threats like going on, like every judge, the Colorado Supreme Court, we know a guy entered there and started, unloading a clip. Like, it's unbelievable what is happening. The violence happening around these trials. It's terrifying. Oh, should we play MAGA prophet Julie Green? Because she has a message for you.
Yes. By the way, David's here. David, hello. How are you? I hope, David, you're watching the hearings.
Oh my gosh, David, you must have some feelings. David. Okay, hold on. Where's MAGA prophet Julie?
Hey, you guys are killing it on the likes today. We're almost to 150,000. I
Yay.
appreciate that. Thank you. We can keep it going if you want, but thank you guys so much for the likes and the shares.
Oh, I want to talk about this.
I don't see the share numbers for some reason, but I appreciate it.
I don't know if you saw this happening on Twitter yesterday, but the Daily Beast has an article today called "The So-Called Free Speech." Kind of like, well, people cite stuff wrong, like it could have happened. It didn't happen. Basically, this is just drummed up. They defended her once and they didn't want to defend her again. And just basically, this is a PR scam. Like Claudine.
Yeah, I was reading some of them. Like one of the quotes was, Gabriel, I also construct a county level measure that captures the financial incentives developers have to build or rehabilitate affordable housing, and that exact word for word appears in Freeman and Owens. The problem is they're both actually quoting Haller and Usowski, which is it's a court case. So they're using the correct legal definition of what they do, and on purpose, right? Like if that's your dissertation, you're going to use the correct legal framework, and both of them do it. And then they claimed that this was. I read this yesterday, but this was the only one I knew of. I didn't know that there were more. But the claim was that it was plagiarism. But they're both actually just borrowing from a Supreme Court decision, which of course you can quote that word for word. Of course you have use to their language in order to correct, I guess, like to have the proper framework in what you're saying. Like you want their language because that's specifically what the law looks like. That's specifically in the judgment.
So yeah, this is just my apology to Claudine Gay for not doing more research. Like you were completely railroaded after like further investigation, which I figured, but I mean, it's just so much worse than I thought it was.
She messaged me. She accepts your apology.
Okay,
she says,
I'm glad. And I should have looked into
Felice.
it. It's gross that I didn't, because let's see here.
Hashtag Felice doesn't support women. Get that trending.
is the next for real. Will be going around, I am sure. Junior was out of his mind last night. Junior was on his podcast screaming up a storm, but we don't.
Don Jr.?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like him.
I know. He's never out of control and screaming. It's hilarious. Listen. Well, this isn't even his. I'm sorry. He was on Newsmax. Not his. This isn't from his podcast.
Big time.
There's people that didn't do anything that are sitting in jail for 2 years. We just got to fight all of them. The reason they've thrown so much at this is they understand it's all ridiculous, but they're hoping that if they can venue shop like they obviously can in Washington, D.C., in Fulton County, outside of Atlanta, that they can get something to stick, whether it has any merit or not. The Democrats have shown that they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about law. They don't care about rules or decorum. They will do anything they can to win. That's what they're doing. So I think the law is clearly on our side. I think logic and reason are clearly on our side. I just don't think that matters anymore when you're dealing with these radical activists. They've shown that time and time again, Carl. So, we feel confident that if we didn't live in a banana republic, everything would be good. Journalism in our country is dead. It has been for a while. They are simply regime propagandists. They'll be
Regime propagandists. He's like, this is fascist rhetoric. I just want to also say his face is like bright red and swollen, and he can barely. It's not good if you could see what's going on. But yeah, I mean, this rant goes on for 2 more minutes of him screaming.
Is there anybody on the right that knows what the fuck a banana republic is?
Oh my God, if I hear that word, I mean that comes from Dole, right? The terrifying company, one of the most scary American corporations, Dole Fruit. That's where the term banana republic comes from, because of their terrifying things they did. And if you don't know what they do in countries south of here in order to, grow fruit, it's scary stuff.
I think it's Chiquita, not Dole. I think it's Chiquita. Yeah, I think it's Chiquita. But Chiquita banana. I'm pretty sure it was Chiquita. We learned that. I can pull it up, but
isn't Chiquita? Oh, the Banana Republic isn't referring to Dole?
No, I think it's Chiquita.
I need to.
It used to be called United Fruit Company. There may be both, but I thought it was from Chiquita.
No, that's.
Standard Fruit Company.
United Fruit Company was an American. Now Chiquita, the United Fruit Company, now Chiquita, was an American national corporation. Yeah, primarily bananas.
Anyways, it was basically coined to talk about like a state that's like politically and economically unstable, and they're dependent on the export of natural resources.
Here's a good one.
That's what a banana republic is. I don't know. Like when they say this, I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, they're talking about corruption because the banana industry created so much corruption in countries south of here. Like here's an article from 2022, how Guatemala's government was overthrown for bananas. Like it's terrifying. Another one is like sugar cane fields in South America. Like all of these, like the corruption in governments related to fruit is surprising. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're like, it also like the weird thing is like it's about social classes. It's about like the working class versus the plutocracy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so and then you have like business, military, political, social, spiritual elites. Right. And it's like it's their way of just saying like Democrats are more popular, so we call them the elites because their ideas are more popular. That makes this a banana republic because there are people who think my dad committed a crime. Therefore, this is a banana republic. But it doesn't make any sense. It's not operating like a banana republic. It's operating correctly. It's operating exactly as designed. We are like these are court cases. There are charges. You take the evidence that you have to a grand jury. The grand jury decides not on are you guilty or not, but is there enough evidence to proceed to a court case? Yes. Then we go to a court case. There is nothing banana republic about any of this. It's not even remotely a banana republic. And I don't think there's a single Republican that I've ever heard that could tell you what a banana republic is. Throw that, by the way, Kim, if you're listening, throw that on the fucking bingo card tonight because Ron DeSantis loves saying banana republic. Put that on the bingo.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Much before it became popular as a clothing brand, the term, I forgot about Banana Republic, was owned by the Gap. That was like the nicer brand of the Gap. Or is that the Limited? Whatever. The term Banana Republic, the term Banana Republic referred to authoritarian regimes supported by large U.S. companies like the United Fruit Company. Bananas have always been way more popular than apples and oranges and are a staple in every household across the globe. And Guatemalan bananas. The government of Guatemala was overthrown in 1954 by a group of military officers allegedly backed by the CIA. That's what a banana republic is. It's a coup, David.
Never thought I'd be fact-checked on Banana Republic.
And this is more projection from the right. Who does coups in this country, David? Who's up to coups?
All I know is I thought I had COVID when I came back from California. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that was just a nonsense answer. What the fuck was that answer? What was that?
Well, I mean, dude,
that was banana.
Look,
that was Banana Republic.
Look, I get it. In some other country, they go to overthrow their fucking country of fruits and vegetables, dude. They've done it, and with avocados too. Who gives a fuck?
That's not what a banana. I feel like you may still not know what a banana republic is, but the point we were making, David, and it's not a big deal, is that Don Jr.'s an idiot. And that he just says things because, like, he just speaks in quips. He has no idea what he's talking about, almost ever. And to call like our justice system working exactly how it's supposed to operate, a banana republic, just goes to show that, like, he's 100% emotion. And he's just heard somebody else say banana republic, and he thinks that means, like, corrupt government, so he keeps saying that. And that's why you're upset. Like, it's funny that you're
I'm not upset at all. I think it's funny
it's
that you
funny
guys
that
are trying
it
to fact
triggers
check
you
me.
that we're like, hey, Don Jr. doesn't know what he's talking about, and you're like, oh, you guys are idiots for correcting him. That's a weird flex. That's a weird argument.
Not at all, dude. There's no flex here at all, dude.
All right, argument. That's a weird argument.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was
that somebody
funny.
screenshot David like that. That's the last we saw of him, and just like that. Oh, now he's back.
I thought that was funny, dude. I thought it was fucking. I was like, are they really trying? My internet sucks. It probably does. Yeah, that's that.
That's better now. You're clear now.
There we go. No, it's just I thought it was hilarious.
So why have you been so happy lately, David? You said you've been really happy lately. What's going on?
I ain't been on TikTok. Even though I've been sick, dude, I've been enjoying the fucking being off of TikTok. No, I mean, sometimes you gotta take a break.
You think the Democrats in California gave you COVID? Is that your claim today?
Oh,
that
dude,
you went to California
it was bad.
and the leftists somehow gave you
I had to wait in line to charge my car. Oh, dude, it was everything you see on the news. Every bit of it. Every fucking bit of it, guys.
I had to wait to charge my car.
Sounds terrible. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, David.
Electrify America's got half broken down
There needs to be
shit.
a proliferation of electric stations to charge cars around this country if you want to switch to electric.
Oh yeah, your Joe Biden's gonna do it with his infrastructure plan. He's gonna take away from
why'd you buy an electric car then?
Do you want to charge your car or not?
Well, for my need, it fits my need. Like for most of my needs, my day-to-day operations. But yeah, no long trips in the electric car no more.
Sorry about that, buddy. I think California's going to be devastated to find out you're not coming to visit again.
No, California just is a shithole outside of fucking any of their attractions.
Yeah, outside of all the things that make California fucking awesome, it sucks. I agree. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of driving. I'm not a big
Hollywood
fan
star,
of
the Donald
life.
Trump.
I don't really like Sacramento that much.
Barstow.
Barstow's not great. San Bernardino, it's getting a little better, but yeah, I agree with you, David. Outside of the places in California that are fucking awesome, it does suck.
Oh yeah, I got my. They drew, went to Disneyland and shit. It was fun. New Year's night at Disneyland, that was fun.
Disney, yeah,
that is
good.
fun.
You went to woke Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, how woke was it, dude?
No, you're supposed to be boycotting.
Did every ride just like tell you that boys can be
Donald
girls?
Trump
Is that what
star.
every ride said?
That's Donald. Did you go see Donald Trump's star? Is that what you're showing us?
Oh, dude, there was a fucking line. The only
was a
one.
line.
That was the only star that had a line for it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
and one
totally
guy had to flip him off though.
I was gonna say, were people like just standing up? You know what I mean? Like, what was the line for?
Well, there was a dude sitting in front of there selling some of his shirts, which I bought one, of course.
Their Trump shirt. Yeah, that's what you need.
David,
that one's probably made in China. But
David, I have a question for you. Can you think of another leader in history of any country? You can pick any country.
Michael Jordan.
That's.
I just fucking with you guys, dude. I just fucking with you.
Is there?
That was funny. That was a ham to the head moment.
Yeah. Is there any leader in history, David, that was as
VHS? Bam.
Wait, if you just want to wait till the end of the questions, that would be fine. So I guess you didn't pick up some patience in California. But have you ever heard of a leader in history that was this popular and treated like this, who didn't wind up going down in a blaze of corruption?
You guys are the ones obsessed with him, dude. I'm not.
No, I was just
I don't
wondering
think
if
he's
you could
going
think
down
of,
a corruption.
David, if you turn off your Donald Trump, like your background is the star of Donald Trump, and before that, you were in your garage, which is full of Donald Trump paraphernalia. You're not in a position to call other people obsessed. But the question I asked was, can you think of another leader that was like this, that was this popular, that didn't go down in like flames of corruption?
No.
He's just the first one he's just the first celebrity leader that's not corrupt.
I think that if you're taking I think if you're taking something like this on, I think you're going to go down. I mean, you're either going to go down or you're going to take it down. One of the two. There's only two options.
No, actually, that's not true. That's nonsense.
There's only two options. With us, you know that, right?
If you mean take it down,
I know you
guess
love speaking for us.
Yeah, so if we're going to look at other historical examples of a leader who came in and tore it down, we're talking about Castro. We're talking about Schmittler. We're talking about Maduro. Yeah.
That's how you guys see it. We don't see it that way.
Yeah, if you're talking about breaking down the entire country and taking over and giving autocratic control to one person, then yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, we're pretty much gonna we're not gonna take it. I'll tell you that much.
What do you mean?
You know that
what do
song?
you mean? What's going on, Dave? What's the plan? What aren't you gonna take?
David, hold still or turn your mic down. We can hear you rustling around. Please.
No, I gotta hurry.
Turn your mic down.
I gotta go today.
We can hear your clothing moving.
I'm trying to sit still, but I'm getting ready.
David, what aren't you gonna take?
I think that you've seen when Trump didn't call us. Can you imagine if Donald Trump called us?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but the question I asked was, what aren't you going to take? I didn't ask if Donald Trump had called you.
So I think, sorry, dude. I'm trying to help my wife out by putting some water in the dishes. No, I'm just trying to help my wife out.
That's all right. But again, the question I asked was, what aren't you going to take, David?
I think that I think Donald Trump's going to legitimately take things back.
That's not an answer, David. What aren't you going to take?
I don't think it's going to come to that. So
you're
trying to pin me in a corner here to say something I don't mean.
Well, I'm asking you what you mean. I'm not asking you. I'm specifically asking you to tell me what you mean. I definitely don't want to trick you into saying something you don't mean. I want to know what you mean.
So hear me out. So like January 6th, right? Like you guys were thinking, oh my God, they're taking over. They're like.
I knew this is what you meant. I knew.
Yeah.
It.
So what I took that as
by you guys you mean by you guys you mean of course us Democrats and all of the Republicans that were in Congress that day that
no, not all the Republicans
that
that
ran
day, no.
and were scared and said that it was a shame. And that it was disgusting. You mean us, the Democrats, and also everybody else there that day, right?
And Troy Nels.
No, not everybody there that day. That's not true.
Okay. Okay. Who there that day didn't run away and say that it was a problem? What, Marjorie Taylor Greene? Is that what we're talking about?
There's several people that say they're
okay.
Fuck, dude. Who was I watching yesterday? Was saying
so let me amend that then. Most of the Republicans, all of the Democrats who that day thought that was an insurrection. That's who you're talking about. I'm just making sure we know who you're talking about. That's fine. Keep going.
Yeah, we don't think it was an insurrection. You think it was an insurrection. You'd like try to categorize everybody with your group, and there's not that many of you guys.
What group?
The people that think that this is an insurrection. There's just not that many of you guys.
There's not that many of us.
I would disagree with that based on polling, but I like how you co-opt my arguments. Like the one where I say there's not that many of you, and then you just repurpose them and use them against me. I like that.
Well, that's the way I see it, though. Like you see January 6th a totally different way than I do.
No, I know, but again, I'm asking you what you're not going to take.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think that January 6th was like, hey, dude, never mind. You're trying to. Like,
I feel like you're going out of your way not to answer this question. You said we're not going to take it anymore. What do you mean?
I don't know what's going to happen, dude. I don't know.
I know, but obviously there's something that you're so fed up with you're not going to take anymore. So what is that?
Well, I think that they're just definitely not going to take Donald Trump from us. I'll tell you that much.
What do you mean by take him from you?
Yeah, so he ain't going to jail, dude.
Okay, what if he does go to jail?
The people won't let that happen.
What do you mean by that?
We'll literally surround the guy and not let nothing happen to him.
So you would risk your life for Donald Trump if he was convicted? This is a different stance, because earlier what you said is that if he was convicted, you admit that you had been lying.
That's what I was going to say. What happened to you saying if he was
your life on the line?
Yeah.
No,
so if he was convicted, you would join the side.
Well, if he's convicted in this Georgia case, I really
you
feel
can't
like
go to jail without being convicted, my friend.
I really feel like they're going to try some bullshit like that, though.
Okay, but David, wait. If he goes to jail, that means he's convicted, right?
No. I don't think there'll be a conviction in place. I think they'll be trying to.
David,
they're constantly trying to come up.
I'm not asking you your prediction here.
Damn it! I didn't warm my electric car up.
Hold on. If Donald Trump went to jail,
4 feet of snow in front of me.
If Donald Trump went to jail, wouldn't that mean he was convicted?
Sure. I want to show you my car.
Yeah,
right
sure. Okay, now, if Donald Trump gets convicted and goes to jail, you are going to put your life on the line. So you're going back on your promise to admit that you were duped, and now you're saying that instead of admitting you're duped, you're just going to risk your life and go to jail for him instead, right?
Well, I definitely would. I would definitely stick up for Donald Trump.
Okay, so you're going back on your promise that if he's convicted, you would admit that you were wrong. You're now a person who never can be convinced that Donald Trump was wrong, and I'm
marching through the snow, guys.
I understand. But the question I'm asking, David, is are you now admitting that no matter what happens, you're just going to support Donald Trump?
I will definitely support Donald Trump, but I just like the
what?
Banana Republic thing. The Banana Republic. You guys are on Banana Republic. Come on, let's stick with the storyline. Your own damn storyline.
Specific questions here. No matter what, if he's convicted,
well,
and goes
stick
to
with
jail,
your storyline.
No,
we're talking about Banana Republic here.
David, be a grown up here, okay? I'm asking you a specific question that you don't seem to want to answer, because you've told multiple people on this app that if you find out, or if Donald Trump is convicted, you'll be really upset. And you'll admit that you were duped, and you'll
sure if he was convicted, yeah.
Okay, well that's the only way he can go to jail, my friend.
No, I don't. It just doesn't seem that way right now.
How else would he go to jail?
I think they're trying all kinds of bullshit with that guy.
Yeah, those are called charges, and then those will be in court, and then if he's convicted, then he could go to jail. And I agree with you. I don't think Donald Trump is going to go to jail. I do think he will likely be convicted, but I doubt we see Donald Trump in jail ever.
Now TikTok, I got a bunch of snow on the car. I can't drive.
Guys, tap the screen.
David,
let's get to 200K.
Okay, this isn't like this is not your online journal. This is not the David vlog. This is an opportunity that you asked to come up, so I'm just going to ask you questions. So are you now going back on that? You will never admit that Donald Trump did anything wrong, even if he's convicted?
He will. I will admit he did wrong if he did wrong.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure you weren't going to go stand in front of him and put your own life and the stability of your family in jeopardy because of this fucking idiot. By the way, what do you think of his new defense that the president's just allowed to break the law?
I do think that,
like that one?
Like we've been saying, I do believe that you would have to go through the impeachment process.
Well, you can't be impeached if you're not the president, so try again.
Well, if you're not the president, well, that's not true. When he was out of office, they impeached him, remember?
No, he didn't get impeached when he was out of office. They did. In fact, the thing that they were mad about is they said it was a rushed impeachment because they wanted to be able to impeach him before he left office, because you can't impeach somebody who's not in office, David.
Okay, and that was our
again.
premise.
The question I asked, though, let's go back to the question I asked.
Anyway, so
what do you think about the? What do you think about the? What do you think about the? David, hold on. What do you think about the defense that he can just break the law because he was president? Do you like that?
I think that he has to be held accountable through the means in which you hold a president accountable, and that's what.
And his defense is that you can't hold the president accountable; that they are allowed
double
to break
jeopardy.
The law.
You can't get him for double jeopardy.
That's not a thing.
What do you mean that's not?
He's like Marjorie Taylor Greene in the oversight hearings. Just double jeopardy.
It doesn't.
David, he's being charged.
That's what Donald Trump's talking. That's what he's saying.
David, if he's saying that, he's an idiot, but he's not being charged for the same crimes that he was impeached for. These are different crimes. I'm going to ask the question again, though, David. Do you think it's a good defense by his attorneys that the president is just allowed to break any rules, or break the law? Do you think that's a good defense?
Yeah, I mean, he's allowed to do things, and you have to hold him accountable as a
not
president.
things, David. I'm asking, do you think the president should be allowed to break the law?
To unalive his political opponent.
No, David, answer the question and stop. David, stop deflecting. Stop deflecting. I'm just asking you. These are simple questions, brother. These are very simple questions, and you're getting very defensive.
Yeah,
I'm
you
asking.
go
Okay,
find
so
the
let's
police
try
and
this again,
follow him around,
David.
give him a fucking ticket.
So let's ask
you can't
another.
do it,
David,
can
we're
you?
gonna try. Shush, bud. We're gonna ask the question again. I don't know. It's crazy that I have to ask the same question a million times to get an answer, but I'm gonna keep doing it till you answer. David, do you think the president should be allowed to just break the law?
I mean, he's got to be. He'll be held accountable by his means of which you hold a president accountable for.
Well, these are the means.
Joe does it all the time.
Wait, but what about when they're out of office? What are the means to hold a president accountable when they're not in office?
So, like, there's certain immunities you enjoy as a former
What
president.
immunities do you enjoy? Do you immunity from
I
the
don't
law?
know. Donald Trump's pushing those boundaries so we can find out. You can assume, and I can assume, my friend.
Oh, he's just testing the Constitution for us. He's
why
what a
not?
guy. God bless him.
Why
God
not?
bless Donald Trump. He's breaking all these laws to test the limits of the Constitution for us. He is a true civil servant.
By the way, I'm not driving TikTok. I'm not moving anywhere.
David, you're not running.
No,
this live. David,
I'm
you're
saying
not running
it because
this
I ain't
live.
fucking
David,
look, I'm not doing
you're
nothing.
running this live, my friend.
Well, then I'll bounce out of here. I'm
Dave,
just trying to, because
okay,
you're all your
you
little
can-
minions or reporters. You told me yourself, bro. Come on.
told
Let's
you
just
what?
be honest. I'm just trying to fucking keep myself. I'm just sitting here warming this thing up while I'm talking to you.
I get
That's
that.
all I'm doing.
I'm asking you about his defense.
And you were like, no,
his attorney was asked, do you think the president should be able to use SEAL Team 6 to unalive their opponent? And he basically said, yeah, it depends.
Yeah, that's exactly. There's context to that.
What's the context, David?
Well, I mean, there's certain things that presidents do and authorize.
Can presidents authorize the military to unalive American citizens in the United States?
Well, he authorized.
The answer to that is no, David. They cannot.
Well, let's look at Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo only almost ordered Julian Assange.
Mike Pompeo is not the president.
Yeah, he was just a leader of the CIA.
No.
He's not even president. You're right. You're right.
So let's
That's
go back
the problem.
to the president. So let's go back to the president.
No. Hold on. Mike Pompeo.
David.
Give him a card.
David,
give him a pass,
come back,
right?
Please. David, come back. We're not playing whataboutism. I'm asking very specific
because you're talking about
David,
shit
I'm asking
that's got
very
context.
Specific questions on purpose. Do you think the president should be allowed to take SEAL Team 6 and unalive his political opponent?
Yes.
That's insane, David.
Well, if you want to ask ridiculous questions, you're going to get ridiculous. If you want to ask ridiculous questions, you're going to get ridiculous answers, dude.
No, the answer should be no to that.
You're trying to control the narrative of how the answer is being told, and that's just slimy of you.
Yes,
dude.
David, I am trying to get an answer from you. It's an easy answer.
No, you're trying to give a slanted answer. An answer you want to hear.
How is that slanted, David?
Because I just said, Mike Pompeo was about to have Julian Assange assassinated.
Give me an example, David, of a time. Just instead of using Mike Pompeo.
And so presidents do things.
Of a time when the
authorize things. Yes.
David, give me an example. David, give me an example of a time when the president should be allowed to use our military to unalive American citizens on American soil. Just give me an example.
That's not what that argument was about. So quit trying to twist it.
Is if you have a political opponent and you're running for president,
what the argument
that
was
political opponent is a citizen of the United States.
Okay,
it's one of the requirements, David.
So you're gonna have to
give me an example of a time when it's
you're gonna have to go through the impeachment process.
No, give me an example of a time when it's okay to use SEAL Team 6 to unalive your political opponent.
So tell me this: if you impeach them, I don't give a fuck what side you're on, left or right.
Give me an example, David. David,
you guys are ridiculous, dude. You guys don't understand our system.
Give me an example, David, of a time when it would be okay to use SEAL Team 6 to unalive your political opponent. I just want
don't you think it's sad that we live in an era
answer the question
where people won't even vote for what's right?
I want you to stop.
Yes, I do, David.
So that's what I'm saying is so if our system worked the way it's supposed to, then yeah, if you impeach somebody, they should convict no matter what side they're on. Something this devastating.
Question
Right?
I'm asking, David, is when you said it was okay for the president to use SEAL Team 6.
No, it's
to
okay
unalive
for
a
him to have that
political
immunity.
opponent. And so the follow-up question to that,
No president
David,
in
is
right mind does that,
obviously,
so.
give me an example of when that's okay.
Look, the context, the way you're shaping this is not true. It's not accurate. It's not even anywhere close.
You shaped it, David. You said the president is allowed to use SEAL Team 6 to unalive somebody. I'm asking you when that would be okay.
I'm saying the president enjoys those immunities because if he did such an outlandish thing, they would fucking impeach him and convict him. I don't give a
Then
fuck what
that's not
side you're on.
immunity. That's not immunity, David.
It is immunity
It's
because
not
you have
immunity.
immunity.
Do you know what immunity means?
No, listen.
It's not like some immunity. It's all.
You're immune to charges from
Be a
outside
little
prosecution. So you're not immune to Congress,
Well,
though.
David.
Okay.
So David. So you're saying
There's certain immunities you enjoy.
So I hear your answer. Your answer is it is okay to use SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political opponent as long as at the time you are the sitting president.
No,
Because
that's
of
not what
immunity.
I.
You know what his
that's
answer
not.
was? It was qualified
crazy.
yes. This is the qualified
It's
yes
crazy
answer.
you guys
That's
see
what
it
he's
that way.
doing. He's doing qualified
Do you want to
yes.
change your answer, David?
No, because
I'll give you
you're
an
of
opportunity
course.
to change your answer. Do you think that? Do you want to change your answer that the president should not be allowed to use SEAL Team 6?
No, I'm not going to change it to that
So you still
because
think the president should be allowed to use SEAL Team 6 to unalive a political opponent? Got it.
Well,
so
I
when
think
is an
I-
example? Give me an example, David, of when that would be okay.
you think the president just does, you think the president doesn't make life or death decisions?
David, I'm
Okay.
asking, dude. You're an absolute coward today. This is embarrassing even for you.
You're
This is
just
an easy
you're just trying to
question,
shape
David.
the questions.
No, David,
I'm going to stick with the president can do what the fuck he wants.
Great, including unalive their political opponent.
No, it means he'll be held accountable through our process.
No, he said the president can do what the fuck he wants. And so
No,
can Joe Biden.
that's not how it works.
And so can Joe Biden. And that's the problem.
He can't. He is right now. What are you talking about? His sons, Donald Trump's
here
sons,
we
went
go.
through closed door depositions and
He's doing it. He's
open
doing
I
season.
told you he would say it. I told him earlier. I said David is going to show up on our live and he's going to hear the arguments that he heard this morning and he's going to use that.
That's
Shut the fuck
literally-
up,
he
dude.
said this.
Unbelievable.
He said this at the
Unbelievable.
So what? It's what happened. What I'm going to
Said
quote
at
the
the
news?
beginning of
Oh
live,
my
you were going to
god!
bring up Don Jr. You were
Unbelievable.
going to bring up Don Jr. testifying 6 times in a congressional hearing, and it just happened. It's
But
like
I
the
told you
Twilight
guys. I
Zone
told you
in here.
guys. I told you guys last week. Fucking Donald Trump's kids
Let me ask
were
you-
in closed
let me
door
ask you,
depositions,
David,
and you
David,
guys.
Let me ask you a question. When Donald Trump Jr. testified, was he a
The
witness?
news is confirming what we
Shut
say.
the-
That's all.
David, be quiet. Be quiet till the end of my sentence. And Jen, you can take care of the mute button if we need to. David.
I don't
when
care. Get
Donald
ready to
Tru-
go, dude.
David, shush. When Donald Trump testified, was he a witness? Runner. How did we call that?
Poor baby. I miss
What?
David. Come back, David.
Yeah.
We were just having a little
David
talk.
is spiraling.
But he definitely went to
He is
that.
spiraling.
Don Jr. had to testify, but Don Jr. had to answer questions because he was a material witness. Listening to Don Jr. the whine about his, he thinks he's a victim of Congress. And that is one of their favorite talking points. But Don Jr. Hunter Biden wants to testify, and if anyone who's honest about it, you want to see him testify publicly. We should all see Hunter Biden testify publicly. And it's the same with Lev Parnas. Lev Parnas wants to testify in front of Congress. Why don't we bring the people who can clear up everything to a public congressional hearing? Oh, it's because they don't want the truth to be said. That's why.
But yeah, by the way, did Don Jr. Refuse to testify many other times? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Did he refuse to testify until he was court ordered with Letitia James? Yeah, he did. Yeah. Don Jr. testified because he was a witness. If Don Jr. was the target, there's no way he would have testified. We know that because has Donald Trump ever testified? When he was accused of a crime, did he go testify before Congress? Nope. Did his
course
buddies?
not.
Nope. You know who did testify before Congress? Hillary Clinton.
She did.
Yeah,
Those
for a
were-
long time. for multiple times.
Don't say Benghazi. I can't hear it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I can
multiple times.
ever talk about Benghazi again. The worst of the worst. I know. Hillary Clinton was brave enough to show up. It's so true. Listen to Charlie. A red state needs to kick Biden off the ballot immediately. Mutually assured destruction. The left only responds to power. The projection and the idiocy. And you saw those clips yesterday of the Missouri Secretary of State
I don't know
being
if I saw
dog walked on CNN. Oh my God.
No, I didn't see this. I had a rough day
I sent them
yesterday.
to you, but yeah, it was like we had a lot going on. Was that yesterday or I think it was it was either yesterday or the day before. His name is Boris Sanchez. He's a CNN anchor. And like, I think I sent it to you and I said, oh, this is like speech and debate corn. I was like, this is like...
I don't remember. I might have missed it yesterday.
Well, the Missouri Secretary of State tried to show up on CNN and just be like, I'm taking Joe Biden off the ballot. The problem is that Boris Sanchez, the CNN anchor, had read the Missouri State Constitution.
I had that Mississippi in my head. Yeah, we covered that. That was it. Yeah, I covered that on the show yesterday. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my entire life. That man was so ill prepared to be asked any questions, and he kept staring at the ceiling looking for answers like, oh no.
And he was like yellow, like almost like his liver is like failing. You know, he was like kind of jaundiced and like confused. And yeah, it was very sad. He's a Secretary of State. I mean, it's his job to know that Constitution, and just to have Boris Sanchez like quoting the Missouri State Constitution and Maine's Constitution, because the guy tried to do the whole, like that Secretary of State in Maine didn't have the right to do what she did, and then he started quoting Maine's Constitution, which I need to save that because I need to memorize what he said. But yeah, I mean, it goes like, this is all about Republican messaging, like Charlie Kirk saying a red state needs to kick Biden off the ballot immediately, mutually assured destruction. The left only responds to power. He said that yesterday. And then we have Missouri State Senator showing up, or State Secretary of State. It's like they're ill prepared to make the argument, but they just want the PR. You know what I mean? It's not about if they have cause. Anybody can file a lawsuit, right? It's like, Charlie Kirk, why don't you get brave and file a lawsuit yourself? You can. You're a Republican, right? Charlie Kirk, stop telling other people to do things. File a lawsuit. Don't talk about it. Be about it, Charlie.
You got plenty of money. You got the opportunity to fundraise. Don't
exactly.
Talk about it, be about it.
He has access to so much money. Turning Point money.
Vika, what's up? Are you there? Vika? Vika peeing? Everybody, this is just ASMR. We're just doing ASMR right now. Bye, Vika.
Golden showers.
I guess if you guest requests and then you set your phone down, it brings it up, huh? I was like, how did that happen? That makes sense. Vika, if you want to come back later, we can talk. But please, don't take your phone in the shower. We want your phone to stay safe.
Or in wherever we just were with you. I feel like we shouldn't have been there. You know what I mean?
It was an enjoyable trip to Vika's house.
Whatever just happened, I feel like it shouldn't be happening.
Did we? Wait, I didn't see this one. 41. I feel like we haven't talked about my girl for a while. Do you want to tell me about 41?
I can't believe I forgot this. Actually, and this is like sort of scary. I don't know. I don't want to say this because this is just my opinion, but in a weird way, if I ever have some sympathy for Lauren Boebert, her ex seems a little bit unhinged. Like, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'm almost scared. If I ever have any sympathy for her about anything, it is like, what's up with her ex and what is he doing? He's basically, Lauren Boebert's ex is like in the press now. They got divorced. I believe their divorce is final. Is their divorce final? Wasn't it final?
I don't know.
I believe. And he's back in the press, like saying weird stuff that he wants her back and all sorts of like weird language. Here, let me look at it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he called the police. I think he accused her of domestic violence.
That's what he does. He has these rages and calls the cops and makes these I'm not saying Lauren Boebert's innocent. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying her ex is also very not innocent.
But this just goes to show, like, you're right. It's fair. It's fair to criticize Bobo for all the things that she's done. It's fair to criticize her for all the awful things that she says. But at the end of the day, like, she's likely somebody who, at least, at the very least, is a victim of the patriarchy. I'm seeing this quote in here. He said, "A man needs respect and a woman needs love." That's kind of how it is written in the Bible. They're like, what a fucking bizarre thing to say.
Exactly. Can you imagine being married to that? It's Jason Boebert, ex-husband of a Republican representative, has spoken out regarding his recent altercation with the Colorado congresswoman at a restaurant, claiming that he had tried to, quote, get her back. On Sunday, numerous outlets reported that it's Silt, Colorado, had launched an investigation into the Saturday evening incident in which Jason Boebert told law enforcement that he had been a victim of domestic violence. Reports indicated that the ex-husband alleged that he got punched in the face by Lord Boebert. Boebert later said the confrontation was a sad situation and that she was cooperating with the police while denying allegations of violence on her part. Quote, "This is a sad situation for all that keeps escalating and another reason I'm moving," the congresswoman said in a statement. Quote, "I didn't punch Jason in the face and no one was arrested. I will be consulting with my lawyer about the false claims he made against me and evaluate all of my legal options." On Tuesday, Jason Boebert spoke in an extensive interview, I need to read that, saying that he, quote, "wished this all hadn't happened," adding that he hadn't wanted to tell her that he had wanted to tell her that he wanted to get back together. Quote, "I should have handled it more responsibly," Jason Boebert told the outlet. "I mean, look how it escalated. It turned into this big deal. And honestly, it's just two people trying to figure out, how to have peace with each other and how to move forward from here. It's just unfortunate because now it's turned into this big story and I know it's hurt her."
Yeah, I think maybe the problem here is that old Jason here, Jason thought that the best place to have this confrontation would be in a restaurant, a public restaurant. And it appears a dinner that he wasn't invited to, that he just showed up to. That's the best way to confront an ex, whether it be an ex-spouse or an ex-girlfriend. What you want to do is you want to show up when they're in public and confront them very, very publicly. That will never go wrong. That will always work out really well. I can't believe that the press is blowing this up as if this wasn't just some normal way of handling business. Just show up, surprise somebody, and then beg for them to come back to you while you're in a public place. He might not be super stable. That's
what I'm saying. This pattern, that's what I mean by, like, this pattern has been going on. These freakouts, you know what I mean? Like, that's what happens. And this was at the Miners Claim restaurant. Yeah, he publicly, like, showed up where she was and went nuts. And so, yeah, like, it's...
Wait, this isn't the same restaurant that guy owned, right?
Which guy? Oh, no, that's the Aspen guy?
Hand job guy.
Andrew Jackson, if you will.
Look at 83 Marine 90 doing the same as Maxine Waters. What the fuck are you talking about?
They love to talk about Maxine Waters. She's a force to be reckoned with, that's
One
true.
thing I know that is exactly the same is stalking your ex to a restaurant, confronting them and begging for them back and causing a physical confrontation is the exact same thing as a congresswoman saying, or was she senator? I can't remember, saying, "Hey, when you see these people out in public, confront them." That's the same thing. That's exactly the same thing. That's a great way to live your life. Whoever you were, something 90. I think maybe Marine was in there. That was really fucking dumb. That was really dumb. But that's the mind of the MAGA. Anything you hear, we're not even criticizing Boebert. We're criticizing an ex-husband who showed up and caused a scene at a restaurant. And this guy's like, these are lefties. I have to bring up Maxine Waters right now. Keep out anti-name.
Guys, tap the screen. Let's get to 230K. Let's get some Republicans in here. Republicans in the chat. We would love to hear from you. There's so many things you could tell us about. Why it's okay for Trump to get SEAL Team 6 to unalive his political opponent as long as he has 35 senators to help him get away with it. We could talk about that. That would be something to talk about. Maxine takes no prisoners. Absolutely true, Lily. I have so many. I have like saved clips I will never delete of Maxine Waters, like on the House floor and stuff. She is a force to be reckoned with. Or in the Rules Committee, she's amazing.
Looking forward to tonight. Do you think there is a chance that after Iowa, either Haley or DeSantis checks out?
The Republicans need to get it together. I can't see Ron DeSantis conceding. Who's ahead in the polls? Let's look up have you looked at the recent?
I was just looking at it. Yeah. Trump's at 51% in Iowa.
Yeah, in Iowa. What's going on
Haley is at, why doesn't that show that? Doesn't even show. Haley and DeSantis look to be in a dead heat.
Yeah.
And Ramaswamy is actually gaining. Ramaswamy is, by the way, predicting that he's going to win Iowa.
Yeah, what did he say? He's like, just wait, January 15th. Like, you're going to see. I'm so glad he's not going to be in the debate tonight. We might actually get to hear something relevant and valid.
I need to make a disappointing correction. Apparently, Bobo and her husband met in a public place per her request. He did not just show up. So I apologize.
They agreed to meet there.
That makes him look a little more sane. There you go, Jason. At least you were there.
It's over. That was this is the bottom line with that. That's a toxic relationship. You guys finally ended the cycle and got out of it, and he needs to leave her alone. Like, if there's this is the only thing I will ever defend Lauren Boebert about. Stay away from her. I mean, they have kids.
What if you just like had a bad day and you just want to make some bad decisions? And could you? What if other people want to be around Lauren Boebert, but just because they've had a bad day?
She needs you to protect her, Jay. Jay, she needs you to protect her. Go save her. Go save.
I can fix her.
You can, Jay.
I can fix her.
Because you fix so many other of those.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a king.
Look at you. You're batting 0, but keep going. Why not? Just try again.
It'll work out eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't it? It will work out.
If you ever find yourself dating me, you gotta ask yourself what the fuck happened to you. I just need you guys to know. If you ever find yourself in a romantic relationship with me, to anybody that's listening, you have not done well. You should be dating somebody else.
You should be dating somebody else.
It won't end well. It won't. It'll go poorly. I'm bad at that. Well, that's good. That's good that that he wasn't stalking her. I'm a big fan of that. Did you cover I know you love Julie Green.
Oh, MAGA. Yeah, I need to. Which number is that? I can play it's just she's rambling on. Do you want to play the clip? I was gonna.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I don't have it.
You pull up what you need to pull up. I'll get the Julie Green. This is MAGA Prophet and.
Yeah. She's making a killing of the Lord is talking to MAGA Prophet Julie Green. And, informs her that Biden's hiding in the basement of the White House, like not working. I mean, all sorts of things the Lord has told MAGA Prophet Julie Green. And she's getting rich off of it. I'm just upset. Yeah. Like, she's getting filthy rich just saying things. Just being oh, God told me this last night.
She looks beat up. I don't know if it's like intentional. I don't know. Like, she never has any sort of emotion. Her eyes are like sinking in more and more.
Meant to look like this. I'm sure.
I don't know. I don't know a lot about speaking.
I know what you're talking about. I have noticed it. I know what you're talking about. I always wonder what's going on with her.
So here she is. She's a frequent guest on Eric Trump and Michael Flynn's Reawaken America tour, which is sounds awesome. And here's what she had to say. Let me turn up the volume.
It's time to drain the swamp, you would say. Every dirty secret, every traitor, every treasonous act is about to come out for the world to see. Because as you move forward this year, their desperation is growing and all bets are off. They will stop at nothing to stop this nation from rising and to regain its power. Again, the silent war that has been going on soon will be silent no more. So get ready for great changes to take place soon. Very soon, the return of your rightful president will soon be seen. But also the return of blessing into my nation. A return of freedom. A return of justice. A return of prosperity. A return of liberty. Yes, a great return in 2024, saith the Lord, your Redeemer.
Praise him. Thank you, Julie.
The Lord talks like a fucking idiot.
I know.
The Lord uses run-on sentences, and the Lord doesn't seem to be terribly aware of what's
I
happening.
don't know
in this
who's
country.
talking to Julie. It's not. I don't think it's the Lord.
Yeah, the Lord is also apparently unaware that there is nothing silent about this fight. It is exclusively being done with words and noise. Maybe the Lord and Julie have a habit that they've that they have together that they're trying to kick, because the Lord and Prophet Julie, is it Julie? Did I get that right? No,
Yeah, MAGA Prophet Julie Green.
Yeah. Anyways, if that's your Lord, that sucks. That's a real like C- Lord you guys got yourselves. That sucks. Sorry about that.
I feel like MAGA has better things to do. Oh, Patrick's here.
Hi, Patrick. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Idiocracy. All right. What were you pulling up?
Oh no, in the requests we can talk. Do you want to debate someone?
Is Patrick up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, pretty much. He debates.
Great.
He's very smart. You talked to him once before, but you probably don't remember. Hi,
The
Patrick.
worst memory. If it wasn't yesterday, I don't remember.
I saw your comment. I happened to see it on one of my videos. Like we were talking. It's your claim, right? What is it about the presidential immunity debate that the presidential immunity claim is correct? Talk about that.
Yeah, I did leave that out, and I had a really good debate in your comment section. I actually really appreciated all your commenters. They were really fun to talk with. So I like totally agree with your prompt there that Donald Trump is an admitted criminal. I definitely think from his statements previously and obviously what he did on January 6th and other actions throughout his life, he is what we would consider to be a criminal. But I actually take the position that presidential immunity is absolute. And the reason I do that is because I think that the political process should always be supreme to the legal one. And therefore, impeachment and conviction needs to happen before a president should be criminally held liable. And on Felice's recent video, I think it was like maybe yesterday or the day before, she posted a clip about Trump's lawyers arguing that a qualified yes, a president could order an assassination, and if they weren't convicted by the Senate, then they wouldn't be able to be criminally prosecuted for that. And I actually agree with that legal analysis, as absurd as it sounds. And so I was just kind of curious as to whether or not you guys thought that the political system should be supreme to the legal one.
No, my instincts say no.
No, otherwise, what's the point of having a judicial system? Like, if the check against the judicial system obviously is the president and the Senate. The check is not a democratic vote. That's not the check against the judicial system.
So I actually take the opposite view. I think the check against the judicial system is the democratic vote, because the only way to change the legal system is with your votes and by putting people into office. Like, Congress can make any law it wants. Congress can technically change the Constitution as long as 3/4 of Congress vote and the president signs it. So like under that theory, Congress is absolutely, and the president are absolutely supreme to all laws. And the only reason I bring this up is because do y'all think we should have prosecuted Nixon and that we should have prosecuted Bush for Iraq?
Yes on Nixon, no
Yeah,
on Bush.
no on Bush, as much as it was disgusting.
Like the difference in those two actions is that, and the reason that immunity exists is it's meant to be there to act, to remove a hindrance where the president oftentimes needs to react based on the information that they have and act in the best interest of the people. And what they can't do is make these decisions constantly in fear that if something changes, they'll be prosecuted, because it's true. It sucks. It's a shitty part of our system, but we're going to make mistakes, and we've historically made lots of mistakes. But what Nixon did was self-serving. What Nixon did had nothing to do with the American people, had nothing to do with helping the American people. And I believe the same goes with Donald Trump. When we had, like, when this was first adjudicated in Mississippi versus Johnson, the court established that that they could not direct President Andrew Johnson in how he exercised his purely executive and political power.
It's self-serving. Can't that also be political? What I mean by that is Donald Trump did have a political aim with his, what I would argue is 100% a coup. Like January 6th, the attempt to have Vice President Pence deny the certification and put in an alternate slate of electors. That is a coup by my definition. Isn't that by definition a political move then, though?
No, I think it moves beyond the scope of politics. We have it, like, we already have instances in our Constitution, for example, the speech and debate clause. Like, there are things you can and cannot do that aren't covered under the speech and debate clause, right? Like, if you come in, like, if you, for example, were in Congress and you lie before Congress and you're under oath, even if you're a congressman, you're not necessarily protected by the speech and debate clause. These are I think you have to go back to, like, the intention there. I don't think that you're going to find any documentation. I don't think you're going to find any historical historical accounts of the intent of the founding fathers saying that what they meant to do is they meant to make the president all powerful and make it so that the president had no repercussions. I don't even think that there's a good argument that, for Bill Barr, that the president is above prosecution while they are president. I know that it's clearly laid out that impeachment is how you remove the president, but that's for high crimes, misdemeanors, and essentially really anything at this point, anything that you can say, like, is outside of the purview of the president.
Well, so I think if maybe I'm mistaken about this, but current understanding of impeachment abilities is that you could literally impeach for anything. Like, the high crimes and misdemeanors is kind of just the phraseology they used, but it essentially means that politically Congress could impeach your president for quite literally anything under the sun.
Right, that's what I was trying to say, actually. You said it much better than I did. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% correct. And so, like, my holdup here is, let's go back to the hypothetical assassination thing. If there was an assassination, and what is the reason why the Senate didn't convict the president there, right? Like, there's obviously a disconnect between something terrible, a total crime that happened, versus the Senate saying, actually, no, we're not going to convict him on this. Like, the fact that there's a
takeover.
Yeah,
takeover.
But the fact that there's a disconnect there shows that we have a deeper issue in our politics than just this individual crime that was committed. So the argument I'm saying is that because I think that politics should always be supreme to the legal system, you need to fix that political problem first of not being able to convict someone for literal assassination rather than go to the criminal prosecution first.
Well, obviously, this is precedent, though. Like, this is how this works. If it's not in the Constitution, they have to interpret based on what the Constitution says. And the Constitution, at least, I think where we could probably agree is that it's murky, there has to be some clarification here, because certainly nobody thinks that the president should just be allowed to assassinate their competition. Nobody believes that, except for David. Apparently, David believes that.
And Putin.
He thinks that's cool. So there needs to be some clarification here, which is the role. That's the role of the courts. I think that what you're saying can be true, but this falls within the role of the courts. The way that this is coming down, this specifically should go to the courts. That's how our Constitution is written. That's how this is supposed to play out. President Trump is no longer the president, so you can't impeach him. You can't have him removed from office when he's already not in office. So to say that we can't do anything because he's protected by the things he did while he was in office, that means that the only way to prosecute him is to re-elect him and then prosecute him. That is bananas.
Well, so you could impeach again in absentia. That is still possible. Donald Trump still could face that because there's no double jeopardy for impeachment because impeachment's a political process, not a legal one. So that could happen.
Did you hear that, David? Where's David? Where's David?
Yeah, that could happen without Donald Trump having to go back into office. But the only thing I would say to that is, in this specific case of Trump with his January 6th and the stuff he actually did, not the hypothetical, if Donald Trump is the legal system, I'm not sure has enough credibility with Donald Trump's base right now to enforce a decision that would be beneficial to our democracy. What do I mean by that? Is Donald Trump's actions on January 6th, and I think the actions of his base show that there is like such a massive gulf in the middle of our politics and such a massive problem with the trust in American politics right now that we're not able to solve these issues through our normal norms like the judicial system. So I think the only way to solve these problems is with a political solution. And that's why that's the plan. Forcing it to criminal prosecution is the way to go about this, because I think it might actually create more problems, which is why I think we should always defer to politics and not the legal system.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's what you do. That's how these fascist takeovers happen. This is how this happened in Germany. This is exactly how it happened in Germany. What you do, you attack the press, you attack the Justice Department, you attack the judges, you attack the legislatures, and you make everybody believe that they're against you, so that when you put the ownership back in the hands of the people, and the people have no ability to find out if what you're saying is true or not, because you're not doing these hearings in open. You're not having open court hearings. We don't necessarily know what all the evidence is, and most of these court cases won't happen until President Trump is back in office, and then he can pardon himself for everything but Georgia.
Well, so
that's a massive hole in our system, and whether or not like you can make an argument for it, I think that just a reasonable person or anybody who wants to protect democracy should be able to say, yeah, there needs to be protection for if somebody comes in, undermines the system, convinces a bunch of people that the system isn't working when the system is working, and we have no ability to do anything about that. That's why.
Well, so two things there. First of all, it's not a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump is going to get back into the White House, right? Biden could still win, and then Donald Trump would never have his ability to pardon himself, and then things could actually work out to the benefit of the legal system. But the other thing I would say is that I think the system has already failed us because Donald Trump wasn't convicted after January 6th, right? His trial did go to the Senate, and he wasn't convicted of those charges. I think that was a fundamental failure of literally the entirety of the American political system. And so if we're trying to rectify that failure at such a high level through the legal system, I think we risk hurting our democracy even more than if we were to put more effort into just Biden winning. And I guess what I mean by that is I honestly do think that Biden should pardon Trump just so that all of Trump voters kind of see Biden isn't like trying to put him in jail and Biden's just worried about beating him at the ballot box. Like, I think that would be like a much better resolution to our democracy than, and like, I think it'd actually help Biden in the election. So I think we've already failed and our system is already so broken that trying to go after him in the criminal system pushes it further and further and further and further apart. So I don't know that a criminal prosecution is the way to actually heal the divide in our political system. I don't think the divide needs to be healed.
I don't think that that should be our goal, is to heal the political divide. I think that's crazy. The political divide is him. It's a guy who's running on fascism. Like, if Trump wins, he will fundamentally alter the structure of if he wins and can accomplish what he wants to accomplish, he will fundamentally alter the structure of powers. The executive the executive branch will become all powerful, essentially. I understand. I get what you're saying, but these are exceptional circumstances.
I do agree with that. And I do agree, like, a lot is on the line here. And I probably would concede to the fact that it is fascist, or at least fascist-esque, especially Project 2025 and the policies that he's trying or says he wants to put in place. I'm not sure all of those would go through because I've read through it and a lot of it is pie in the sky. But I don't think that the way to beat fascism is through a criminal prosecution. I think it's at the ballot box. And so I also
why didn't it work in Germany?
Well, to be quite honest, I think the American democracy is far better than the Weimar Republic's democracy.
Okay, but why didn't it work? It didn't work at the ballot box. This is the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't
different?
think Weimar Republic Germany in the 1930s is the same as America in 2020.
I'm not saying that they're the same. I'm saying that was democracy.
But I think American democracy is definitely unique, and I think the American voters are definitely unique, and I'm not sure that the two are exactly comparable.
Okay, so let's say that it's not Trump, that it's Schmittler on the ballot. It's Schmittler, and we know what let's say we just know beforehand what he's going to do. Let's say the outcome is going to be exactly what Schmittler did. Now let's run it backwards. Should we just say, oh, well, that's what the American people wanted?
No, obviously, and I think that is such an extraordinary circumstance where I'm going to agree with you on that one. Here, let me kind of tell you where I'm coming from on this. So my mom's actually in the other room. She's a massive Trump supporter. Anything Trump says is absolutely gospel to her. I don't think my mom's a fascist. Okay, I think my mom's a great lady. She's very nice, but she's got some absolutely insane political beliefs because of Donald Trump. I don't think, and if Trump gets criminally prosecuted and there continues to be the criminal, there's multiple cases against him now. And if that stuff continues to go through, and if Biden wins and that stuff happens and Donald Trump gets put in prison, my mom's going to be off the deep end forever. And there's going to be millions of Americans like her who are going to be off the deep end forever. And my question is, if I'm trying to do what's best for the country, I don't want those people off the deep end forever. I want them to be beaten at the ballot box, and I want Donald Trump to admit that he lost an election. That's my.
Well, he won't. And I hate to say, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but what's the difference between somebody who supports a fascist and somebody who's openly a fascist? To me, it doesn't, there's no difference. If she still supports Donald Trump, whether she thinks she's a fascist or not, she is. That's the truth. The people in Germany, Schmittler wasn't running on, I'm going to be a fascist. It's not what he ran on.
Well, he did run on Mein Kampf, which was fascism.
Sure, but his way of saying these are small things that need to be rectified that only I can fix, only a strong man can fix.
Sure, yes, I agree with that. The only thing is, if we have a country in which we have X amount of people who, as you say, genuinely believe in fascism, where does that leave us as a country?
It leaves us in a place where we need to stomp out fascism, and we need to show, you look at the January 6th stuff look at all the convictions in January 6th. The overwhelming majority of them, once they were facing the music, admitted oh, I was duped. Oh, I see now. Now that the wool has been pulled from our eyes, I see. And that's the shitty thing about being a Trump supporter, is that there's going to come a point for a lot of them. David, we had on earlier, he's at this point. For a lot of them, the point comes down to, do I keep believing this and break the law, or do I let it go? And a lot of them choose to break the law. And unfortunately, that's the way that it goes. But I don't think we suspend the rule of law because, we all have friends and family members who are going to be really upset if Trump loses. It's also a pipe dream to think that if Trump loses, that this will stop. It will get worse. If he loses again, it will get worse. The people will get more violent.
I think that's a really good point. I think in 20 years, there's going to be a really great sociology paper about the January 6th convictees and kind of how their political beliefs changed after they were convicted. I do agree with that. But if we were to extend that logic to the rest of MAGA supporters, are we really saying that we need to be pursuing some sort of forced either criminal prosecution or ideological conversion for millions and millions of millions and millions of Americans? I just don't see that.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
no, I'm saying
how do we actually heal that divide if we pursue prosecutions against Trump?
How does every fascist regime end? How does every cult end? The leader goes down, then more people go down, and eventually enough people are going down that the people are able to lift that cloud that they're living in. That
but the way they go down is
you have to take out the figurehead, especially if the figurehead's breaking the law.
I don't want a civil war.
You're not listen. There's not going to be a civil war. How many people showed up on January 6th? A couple 100,000.
I think it was over 10,000, wasn't it? It was in
Well,
the
I
10,000.
think total at the Capitol over 10,000, but I think total in the city that had come there was it was maybe 100,000.
I think it's ludicrous that I'm not defending the J6ers, but is it not a little bit ludicrous that we are not holding Donald Trump accountable, but we have all these people in jail?
I think that's also a really good point. I guess that is in my opinion, for the sake of overall democracy, I am willing to create two different sets of rules, one for Donald Trump and one for the rest of his supporters, just because I do genuinely fear another January 6th happening. I do genuinely fear more political violence happening. And I don't think that criminally prosecuting Trump gets us to a world in which those people are less radicalized.
It's hard to say, but I mean, this is
Well, I do. I think Donald Trump going away, and again, his life is short. You saw what happened. His most ardent supporters on January 6th begged him to stop, begged him to make it stop. These are all people that just do what they say because they're terrified of him. I don't think that if you remove Trump, once Trump is gone, however he's gone, I think he should be held accountable. And then once he's gone, it's not like you're going to have Steve Bannon take over all of his people. There's nobody that's going to step up and fill the MAGA role. And for the main reason that nobody has the credibility of Trump as far as like a life in the spotlight. Nobody has the ability of Trump to just openly lie about everything, never take responsibility for anything, put anybody that loves him, doesn't matter, he will throw you under the bus before you go down. I think Donald Trump is a unique person. I don't think that this is necessarily an American problem. I don't think that you have a bunch of people in America that want to be fascists. I think you have a lot of people who believe Donald Trump and believe him when he says, I'll just be a fascist for a day. And don't believe your lying eyes. Just believe what I tell you. That's the problem. The problem is that Donald Trump is compelling, and he was compelling for a long time. And he's compelling for a lot of people who are much more incentivized by having America look like they want it to look than the truth. And I think when you have a leader like that, it is the American people's responsibility. It's our it's our Department of Justice, it's our law enforcement, and it's our judicial branch's job to take care of that, to do their role.
There's a few things you said there. Number one, you said, however Donald Trump dies. I think you and I might agree that I'm kind of fingers crossed for a heart attack or a stroke at this point, because I definitely think that would be good for American democracy if Donald Trump just falls down in the middle of a speech.
But he's in amazing health. Haven't you heard Ronnie Jackson talk about, he's a picture of health, Patrick?
Yeah, like they say, a Diet Coke a day keeps the doctor away. But I am also scared of people like Donald Trump Jr., his son, who I think has definitely embraced a lot of his father's mannerisms. And like you said, he was the one that sent that text on January 6th, like, we need to end this shit now.
Yeah,
and then
begging Mark Meadows to get his daddy to stop it all.
And then the very next days, he's repeating the same lies, and he still repeats the exact same lies. So he's obviously just total bullshit, I think, just like his father.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the engagement. He doesn't have the sway. Like, people would leave. There are plenty of Trump supporters who don't like Don Jr. Don Jr. can't take over. He might be able to take over the MAGA movement, but the MAGA movement will be much smaller if he's in charge.
And I mean, I guess that's a silver lining that I can hope for. But that is, at this point, just a hope. And I just, before any change happens, like, if we get to November 8th and Biden wins and there is another instance of political violence, I think it's going to be far worse than January 6th. And I think it's going to be far more widespread, because we've already had January 6th as a mantle for all those MAGA people. I think they're going to be even more radicalized. And literally my only politics is, I don't want that to happen. I want us to be less divided as a society. I want people to trust elections again. And I don't
Then the only scenario where that works is if Trump wins. Because if Trump loses, they're going to revolt. If Trump is convicted, they're going to revolt. They will only accept Trump winning. They do not care about democracy.
I think Biden has a lot of unique abilities that he could actually solve this all himself. I'll paint you one real quick. If Biden said, I'm not going to run in 2024, but I will pardon Donald Trump if he admits he loses on November 9th, right? Like after the election happens, we have the results. Donald Trump lost. Joe Biden's like, okay, if you admit you lost this election, you're totally pardoned. All this is over. Everything's free to go. I think that'd be like the best scenario possible. And Joe Biden is uniquely capable of doing that.
I don't think Trump would take that.
Yeah, right. So I think
honestly
there are
don't.
ways. I think there are ways to solve this without having to criminally prosecute him that could be better for our democracy.
But if
And I
he
think
doesn't take,
my mom
but
were
what if he doesn't take the pardon? What if he says, no, I'll never admit that you stole this election too? It lives on.
If my mom were to hear Joe Biden say, I'm not going to run, but I'm going to pardon Donald Trump if he loses, but we have to follow the results of the election, I think that is the best litmus test we could possibly have to say to the American people that if you still support this Trump guy, okay, you're an actual fascist and an active threat to a democracy. But if you're able to say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. He's literally just lying to us. He just wants to keep power. Then
Yeah, I
think
feel like you're just giving him like
distinction far
another
more
chance. Like,
clearly.
how many chances does this guy need to? How many more chances do we need to give him to let him show that eventually he will respect the rule of law? And I don't I don't know your mom, but I know Trump supporters. They will not give a fuck what Biden says. They're already convinced that he's part of this evil cabal to keep Trump down. That would immediately be spun as, oh, that was just Biden's way of trying to stop us from going after him for the 2024 election. He rigged the 2024 election for whoever it is. It's not him, right? But he rigged it. He made sure Trump didn't lose, and he dangled this carrot so that we would go away. But we'll never go away because we're American patriots, right? Like there is not a single thing that will stop them from being stupid. They've already sold out. They already are just like, I'm going to believe any dumb shit this guy says. We've crossed the line of absurdity a long time ago. I do not have faith or hope in a single solitary Trump supporter that anything he could do would possibly change their mind. The E. Jean Carroll stuff is just one of a million things that should have immediately convinced, especially women, to say enough is enough. But they won't. There is nothing they will accept. He could be in jail and they'll say it's unjust. He won't ever admit that he loses the election because if he admits that he loses the election, he doesn't get to fundraise anymore, and he lives off of that money. He's a grifter.
Perhaps I'm just a silly optimist, but I hope that you're wrong, right? I hope that there is something that can be done to get people to wake up and see that Donald Trump is not their savior. He's not God. He's just a really shitty person. I really don't know if it's possible or not. I hope it is, that we're able to change people's hearts and minds. And I just, maybe that's where my whole idea of this immunity is coming from, because I want to see a world that can happen in which American democracy is, okay, maybe we actually were wrong about this. Let's move on to another Republican candidate that just likes tax cuts or whatever and doesn't want to thwart our democracy or whatever, right?
I hope I'm wrong too. I agree with you. It would be best case scenario for America is I'm wrong.
Yeah, okay. And maybe that's the best place to end it, because I think it's just two different, views of how we see the electorate coming at it here. But I really appreciate talking with you guys.
Patrick, you're very intelligent. I appreciate your critical thinking, as always. You give me hope for the rest of America's youth.
And hopefully, if any Trump supporters out there, you guys just know that reading is important and looking up facts is important. So if we can just give you one piece of advice, that'd be
Tell the people.
That's good advice. I appreciate it, Patrick. I enjoyed the
Reading is
conversation.
important.
Have a good day, y'all.
Bye, Patrick.
See ya.
I love critical thinkers. You know what I mean? You don't have to agree with them, but I love Patrick because he's always thinking.
Well, yeah, I think he has a clear motive that he wants the infighting to stop. Remind me, I think he was a Trump person before, and he's since left. He's
very young. I think he's 21 or he's very young. So I don't know if he was a Trump supporter. I think he's an independent or a progressive. I'm sorry, he's not independent. He's a progressive, I think, but from Texas. So,
as progressive as he can be. No, I think I like that. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. Me being wrong is good in this scenario. Me being wrong and him saying that pardon would work. I like that. And that makes sense to a reasonable person. But we've long passed reasonableness with Trump supporters, and I think they'll even admit it. They'll even admit that at this point they're hoping that evidence comes out that proves them right, because right now nothing is, and they believe in this revealed secret that will come about later that Trump's holding on to for some reason. They believe it will all be revealed, and God will help them reveal it. God and Trump, they're working together. Just couple of Christians working together to tell us the truth.
I just think, like, maybe it's my perspective, just, because my father is like half African American, half Native American, just experiences I had, like, watching my father deal with, like, the legal system. Like, I'm so tired I cannot accept, and yes, I understand the greater good and what's maybe best for the electorate and, like, our political system, and let's move on. I hear that, but, like, I can't do it with, like, the two-tier justice system. Like, if people are sitting in jail for January 6th, then he needs to be sitting next to them. Like, I just, like, and this is ironic because it's kind of against my normal philosophy. Like, I believe in restorative justice, like, not punitive. I actually don't think, and if you read sociological studies, jailing people, having 25% of the world's prisoners is not solving any problems, right? We're not solving our crime problems by jailing people. But as far as holding people accountable, like, just because you're rich and you're a giant baby, you know what I mean? Like, we are treating this man with kid gloves. He's a giant angry toddler having a never-ending tantrum, and we're all, like, tiptoeing around him, being like, how do we deal with him? How do we deal with him? You know what I'm saying? Like, if any one of us had done what he did, we would be locked away. We'd be on trial for treason. Like, this, and that's what I want to see. The same accountability that any of us normal people would be held to.
Yeah, I wholly agree. I think that it does remind me of negotiating with my daughter. I lose every negotiation with her, because I just want, like, I know that she's not going to be rational enough. She's 4. She doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand, like, she has no, she can't think an hour ahead, right? She doesn't care about what happens an hour from now. She cares about what's happening in front of her face right now. I was listening to Political Beatdown the other day, and they were talking about, it was from a few weeks ago, but it was during the E. Jean Carroll stuff, like the new hearing, I guess. I don't remember what the hearing was, but Michael Cohen just said, like, Donald Trump is tweeting about this, and he was asked, like, why he seems to care so much about this particular case. And he's like, because he cares only about what's happening that day.
Exactly.
February might as well be 4 months or 4 years away. It's just, he doesn't see past right now. And it reminds me of negotiating with my daughter. And that's why you see, like, his presidential immunity claim now, why didn't he bring that up in the E. Jean Carroll case before?
Oh, yeah. Well, and there's another clip I have of his the lawyers arguing that were arguing for the Colorado Supreme Court, arguing something completely contradictory. You know what? It makes no sense. Hey, Kevin C. Kevin? Kevin?
Hey, guys.
Hey. What's going on, Kevin? What's on your mind?
I just came in to address a couple of things.
Do you have Wi-Fi you could switch to, maybe? I see that it shows you have one bar on mine. It's just really glitchy.
Yeah, I live out in the country. I work out in the country, so it's like, wherever I'm at, that's what I have to use. But I just want to address two things.
Wherever you're at right now, stay right
First of all, the New York. Okay. Yeah, the New York thing was a local case. That's why presidential immunity couldn't be used there. The other thing is that you have your friend there brought up an idea that
you're talking about
jailing people does not reduce crime. But
wait, hold on. We're talking about the E. Jean Carroll case, right? Yeah. So his lawyer.
It is civil court too. Yeah.
Yeah. So his lawyers are now claiming they are now trying to use the defense that because he was defending himself and therefore his party by speaking out about E. Jean Carroll that he has immunity. So they're now trying to go back and relitigate that ruling based on
speaking out is
presidential
different
immunity.
from
So the only point I was bringing up is that for some reason they didn't use that defense the first time, and they're just now starting to use it. That's all I was saying.
Right. Well, you're talking about the idea of appealing it, or are you talking about just the supposed slander against E. Jean Carroll?
Well, slander is part of what he got charged for, right? And that's part of what the damages were for, is because of the slander. And he's now trying to say that he had presidential immunity because he was president when he was making those comments.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work, but yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, was that an official act?
Because it was. No, I imagine they didn't use that excuse before because I don't know who said that or what you're referring to there.
His attorney.
But the reason they wouldn't is because obviously it's a local case. There's no presidential immunity for that.
Well, they're using that as their argument now, just so you know. Like, that's what his lawyers are arguing.
Is that something they argued or they tweeted about?
Well, they say they're in public saying the lawyers are saying like that's what the argument is going to be.
Anything. I mean,
Sure,
I hate that.
they may not
have
use
a
it. You
lot
could
of
be
this
right.
on TikTok where people say, "Oh, the lawyer said this," or "so and so said this," and it's like the Trump gossip mill, right? But I did want to bring up the other thing, which is that she said that.
No, I want to wait. I just want to
crime.
correct the record. Let me correct the record, Kevin, because the lawyer they tried. So a federal appeals court in New York on Monday denied former Donald Trump's request to reconsider his claim of presidential immunity in his high-profile defamation lawsuit filed by E. Jean Carroll. So yeah, he and it's a claim he's pursuing in multiple court cases. So they did actually try to pursue the claim of presidential immunity from what was this? Is it from SA or whatever? Was it sexual abuse?
I think from
Well, it was a civil court.
abuse?
Yeah, it was a civil court, so it wouldn't be any of those. It would just be the.
Oh, it is those. It's sexual abuse. He was found liable, right? It's civil court, so it's not. He's not right. He's not criminal, so he's liable of SA. That's what it was. That's what was found.
Yeah, I mean, a bench ruling in a civil court doesn't mean anything, right? So, but that's neither here nor there. This is the problem, right? So nobody cares about these judgments against Trump or any of the cases against Trump right now because
I do.
It's just become a weapon. Well, you do, but most people don't. That's why he's ahead in the polls now. That's why whenever people talk about it on the mainstream media outlets, their viewership drops. Their ratings have dropped tremendously over the last year.
Well, who cares what people think? Like, who cares if people care or not?
Matters, right? We were talking about presidential politics.
The two cases so far, and they're both civil, but both cases so far that everybody has claimed were just a weapon. He's been found guilty, and it was overwhelming. So much so, so much so that he didn't show up to court for E. Jean Carroll, and his attorneys didn't even ask for a jury in the second one. They were foregone conclusion. He was so guilty that there was no real offense. There was no real defense. It was just about
we've
trying
all
to
seen
limit.
the Law and Order episode.
Hold on. He was just trying to limit damages. Now you go.
Okay, but we've all seen the Law and Order episode. We've all seen the woman's little collection of Trump memorabilia that she posts on Facebook. This lady is a nutter. We know there was no lie detector,
who cares?
no
Why,
physical
that doesn't
evidence,
matter.
no
Doesn't
cooperating evidence. No, but this is the thing, right?
Why? Because she made a claim
in Lubbock,
against Trump.
Texas. Oh yeah, she made a claim about something that supposedly happened decades before that had never been brought up ever. To that point,
did many other women.
No, there's been a long history of women bringing up things against the Bidens, against the Clintons.
When women claim they were attacked by men, like you're saying that she's crazy for saying she was attacked by a man?
No, I'm saying she's crazy.
Statistics says that that's not the case, right?
The whole scenario around that case. Like, there's a big difference between someone like Tara Reid and someone like E. Jean Carroll, who had a book deal to write about Trump.
What's the difference?
Well, money, publicity, their own posts and their own actions.
Why should you not be able? Why should it be disqualifying that if somebody that harmed you and directly affected your life, why should it be disqualifying that you choose then to tell your story and make money off of it? Why is that disqualifying?
Because it wasn't her story up to that point.
You don't know that. I'm asking. Right? No, I'm asking why that is disqualifying.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous. Wait, explain to me why it's ridiculous.
Right? If you had, I have. everything about this woman is ridiculous.
You're
right?
not
She
saying
pulled her
everything about this
accusation
woman.
straight
You are
from Law and
only
Order.
talking.
So
You're
she
not saying
posted on
everything.
Facebook about how she loved Donald Trump.
Kevin, you are not
She
saying
never brought it up
Kevin,
prior to that ever.
Kevin, hold on. You're not.
Yes.
You keep saying everything about this woman, and then you only bring up the stuff that you think makes her look guilty. If you're going to use words like everything, then tell everything. Tell the part about how how there are 30 years of people around her that said she told this story. Tell the part about where her therapist confirmed that she came to her and explained these acts in detail. Explain also at the part where they have address, and Donald Trump. I'm not done, Kevin. Kevin, hold on. I'm not done. I'm not done. Also explain the part where there's a dress and Donald Trump refused to give a sample. Also, when Donald Trump said she's not pretty, I would never have slept with her. And then he confused her with his wife, who he clearly slept with. If you're going to say everything about this woman and then only talk about the things that you think make her look bad, then you're the dishonest one. You're being dishonest.
No, everything
if we're really going to discuss this case, if we're going to discuss this case, we need to discuss all of it, not just not just the parts of the defense that lost.
Okay, can I say what I want to say now?
Yeah.
All right. So
you just needed to wait,
everything that you brought up, right, happened in the process of this court case, which is the equivalent of like a judge in Texas finding some MAGA grandma who makes an accusation against Joe Biden and then makes bench rulings based on that, doesn't give them a polygraph, doesn't have them present any physical witness or any corroborating witnesses other than her own therapist, who could probably
who's going to corroborate an essay between two? Wait, who's going to corroborate it? It's an essay between two people.
People who are around.
That's the problem with essay. Is it's really hard. You're almost never going to have an eyewitness.
Right? That's the problem with trying to accuse a president who's a famous guy.
Hold on. No. Be quiet. Be quiet. No, we have to address this first.
Kind of accusations.
No, be quiet. Be quiet. We have to address this first. In essay cases, it is very rare that there is an eyewitness. Correct?
No, I don't think that's true at all.
You think that most SA wait, hold on. You think
Yes.
You think that most SA cases have an eyewitness?
Yes, for conviction, yeah, there's got to be some sort of physical.
That's right, ladies. You heard it from Kevin. That's right. All of us who are SA, unless you have an eyewitness, don't bother. Don't bother bringing your claim.
Physical evidence. They had a dress.
That's vile.
They had a dress. She kept the dress, and there were stains on the dress, and Donald Trump refused to provide a sample. And they couldn't make him because it was a civil case. They had physical evidence, but they couldn't confirm that it was Donald Trump because he refused to provide. He could have exonerated himself so easily by just providing a sample, but he didn't do it. I don't know if you know you're muted.
Typical. So this would, like I said, this would be like a judge in Texas making a bench ruling based on some right-wing nut job bringing a false accusation forward.
It was a jury.
Any woman who claims to be SA, Kevin, statistics show over half of women have experienced SA. So in Kevin's logic, any woman, so 50% of women who've experienced SA are now nutters, are nut jobs if they try to hold somebody accountable. That's what Kevin is saying.
Yeah, what exactly is SA? How many men? Do you think that's 50% of men out there committing these acts?
Oh, Kevin, that's gross, Kevin.
No, I'm asking you, who do you think's committing these acts? And what do you qualify as SA?
Well, it depends on what state you're in. Every state has different things that can qualify for SA. So it depends on the state that you're in.
Right. So somebody saying, hey, you know, you're good looking woman.
Let me tell you, in this case, what SA was.
Talking about sexual violence involving physical contact. That's
so in this case, the accusation was that
that's not where the one half of all women come from.
Yes, it is. I'm reading a site. I'm reading a statistic. Okay, I'm literally Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. That's how they define it, Kevin. I'm telling you how it's defined, the 50%. Over half of women have experienced sexual violence involving physical contact during their lifetimes. This is the CDC, Kevin.
While we wait for Kevin's internet, because I'm assuming his internet's out, I would just like to point out that this is nothing like a Texas judge with a bench ruling. This case had a jury. This was not a bench ruling. It's completely different. Everything that you keep saying is like that you keep using as example are not examples of what happened in this case. I don't think you really know a lot about this case. You're muted.
So give me a second.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for that, can you acknowledge that this is nothing like a Texas judge with bench rulings when we're talking about a case that had a jury? You're muted. Your internet sucks, dude.
I was saying, if you look at the federal government data on actual SA cases, right, reported to police SA cases, and you look at the number of women in America and look at their entire lifespan, there's not enough in a year over the entire lifespan of a woman for half of them to be SA.
That is delusional. That doesn't even make sense what you just said. That was just your feelings, Kevin. You just stated something you wish was true. Kevin, that's vile. That's vile rhetoric. I feel bad for the women in your life, Kevin. I truly do. I feel bad for the women in your life.
Women lie very much and are also lie or exaggerate about money or reputations, and they've hurt a woman.
We didn't hear any of that. Your internet was all choppy.
Said it's not outrageous. It's the truth that women will lie about these kinds of things, especially if a man is hurt or there's a reputation or money at stake. It's common, and there isn't enough accusations of physical assault on women.
What percentage of women are lying, Kevin?
Wow, Kevin, it just keeps getting worse.
Kevin, what percentage of the women are lying?
Which women lied about you, Kevin? Or what this feels personal.
No, I'd say that people either lie or that data is extrapolated by saying,
I need to know the numbers, Kevin.
Broke me in a bar,
Kevin, I need the data. I'm not asking for Kevin. I'm not asking for your opinion. Kevin, I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm asking you what the data says. What percentage of the women are lying?
There's no data on that. What do you mean?
Oh,
the data
so you're
shows
just talking out of your ass.
Why would the data show they're lying?
Got it. What?
No,
Yeah, what
the
do you
data
have
shows
against
that
women
her
here, Kevin?
information is wrong, and it's probably because
How do you know
women
it's
will
wrong?
lie
You
about
can't give
these
me any
things
data,
because
Kevin.
there's not enough.
How can you tell me the data's wrong? How can you tell me the data's wrong if you can't give me
FBI
the data?
shows that SA physical sexual assaults against women is so low in this country that even if you went throughout the entire lifespan of a woman, there aren't enough incidences to justify even near 50% of them being assaulted in that way.
Wait, so you think in this country there's 350 million people currently, so you can cut that to 175 million of the population. Cut that in half. We're looking at 80 to 90 million. You're telling me that there are not 80 to 90 million accusations of SA over the course of 100 years, 80 years? How many years do you want to use? 60 years? No, it wouldn't. No, that's not what it would mean. That's not what
one person can assault more than one person. Do you understand, Kevin? No, that's not what it means. But that was a good try, Kevin.
The problem is, Kevin, is that a lot of men in this country don't understand what consent is. And so you think when you hear SA, you think that this is somebody who's forcibly taking somebody like in a corner and them saying, no, 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 and being hit. And you think that that's the only existence of SA. SA can happen in many instances. SA can literally can happen when somebody's too intoxicated and they're not in their right mind to be able to give you consent. SA can happen in marriages where a spouse does not want to have sex, but the other spouse asks them to. I'm not done, Kevin. You do not, Kevin, not in the middle of my sentence. Nobody cares. Not in the middle of my sentence. You can respond when I'm done. SA happens in a myriad of ways. And a lot of times women, based on how they're brought up, particularly like where I grew up, a lot of women don't even realize that they've been SA'd until years, decades later. They don't even realize that what happened to them because they think they didn't want it, but because they didn't fight hard enough, that it was their fault.
Okay, and so what was the conditions of this accusation against Trump? He was in a dressing room with a woman.
Yeah, and
he and her
unclear.
walked into that dressing room together.
Correct.
Accusation there, right?
Yep.
So what kind of behavior signals a woman give to be into a dressing room with them?
Well, let's just say normally that would be strange behavior. But the weird thing is years later, decades later, maybe a decade later, we have Donald Trump on a hot mic. I'm not done talking. I'm not done talking. This is not your opportunity to speak. This is not your opportunity to speak. It's not your opportunity. You asked a question, I'm answering it. Years later, Donald Trump is caught on a hot mic when he thinks nobody's recording and describes exactly what he was accused of. So we have this thing that he says that he does. He's bragging about doing it. Then we have a woman who for 30 years told the people it's not your
He
fault.
said women let you do it is what Kevin just said. Kevin is gross.
Mute Kevin. Mute
Kevin is
Kevin,
gross.
please. I'm not done, Kevin. Shut up. I don't care. This is a person. Kevin, nobody can hear you, dude. Nobody can hear you. I can talk over you. Nobody hears. Okay, so I'm just going to talk over you. I'm going to turn my mic up. I'm going to turn it all the way up. And Kevin, nobody's going to hear a word that you said. But Donald Trump bragged about something that this woman has proof and documented proof that she accused him of that long before that quote ever came out. For 30 years, for family friends, from her therapist, she had told people this story, and then he's on tape when he doesn't think anybody's watching, bragging about being able to do this. I think that Donald Trump I think there's a real chance that Donald Trump just assumed.
Yeah, so it's very easy for somebody to say, "Oh, Trump said this, and now I'll bring an accusation against them."
I'm back up here. Donald Trump thinks that he has the right to women's bodies. All right, you're done, Kevin. You're such a child, dude. And you're gonna go on later, and you're gonna make a TikTok about nobody lets smart people like me talk because you won't shut the fuck up when other people are talking, and you're still doing it. You're still doing it. Nobody hears a word you're saying, and you just keep talking. This is why nobody platforms you. You don't even know how to speak to other human beings. Nobody can hear you, dude. Nobody hears a word that you're saying, and now I've booted you. This is how fucking insane you are. You think that you could, you just get access to platforms and you can talk over people, but your mic and your internet suck. Probably because nobody wants to live anywhere near you. Maybe you had to move out there because you just had to be far enough away from certain places. I don't know. But you're gross, dude. You're gross. You are smearing a woman because you love Donald Trump and you hate liberals. And you're willing to just dismiss all women everywhere. Dismiss all women everywhere. Dismiss the fact that everybody knows we've lived in a patriarchal society. Everybody knows up until even just recently, marital rape was widely accepted. In my church, it was taught, women, you need to have sex with your husbands. Even if you're not in the mood, this is part of the agreement. That was taught in my religion. It was taught all over the country. You're gross. Felice?
absolutely vile rhetoric Kevin is spewing. Like this is why women don't report. This is why so many rape claims go unreported. This is why I didn't, because of people like Kevin. That's why. That's why. Because you wanna get accountability for being assaulted, and you know what happens to you? People like Kevin. That's why. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for showing us all how gross you are, though. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, do we need to go back to the, I don't remember that kid's name. It was at Stanford.
Oh yeah.
Assaulted
Brock
that girl.
Turner.
Yeah, Brock Turner, thank you. And in court, his dad has the audacity to be just like you, Kevin, to have no feeling about the woman who was assaulted, and said, my son shouldn't have to spend his life in jail for 20 minutes of fun.
For graping a woman by a dumpster,
Yeah.
while people watched. But Brock Turner, slap on the wrist. Yeah, and that it's so sad. It must be scary for you having a 4-year-old daughter. You know what I mean? Because Kevin, this is what you have to face as being a woman in America. This is every day for us.
And I live in and not to say that SA is like a Republican or a Democrat or a right or a left thing, but covering up those abuses is something that happens particularly on the right, particularly in religious organizations, particularly in conservative areas. That's the stuff that's buried, and you're 100% right. That's my greatest fear. And that's why, like, I am raising my daughter to be fierce. Like, some people teach their kids that hitting's not okay. Like my daughter hit the fuck out of them, and my daughter, like, she can hit me. Like, if I cross my daughter's boundaries, if I give her a hug that she didn't want, yet she absolutely can push me away. She can use that force. If I invade her space and she doesn't like it, she absolutely can slap me in the face. She needs to know that. But like, that's the thing. We're taught that women need to be docile. We're taught, their dad can give them loves. Like, no, this is what sucks about it. It sucks about having a daughter, is that there are people like Kevin who maybe have kids and who will teach their kids the same thing. And if it was your kid and my daughter made the accusations, you would 100% be out there smearing my kid. And I'd like to point out that there are false accusations that happen. We're not talking about accusations right now. We're talking about a court case that was settled by a jury. If you have a problem with that, fine. Have a problem with our political system. But why is it only conservatives that you guys have a problem with when they're convicted? And why so often are you guys on the side of the argument that is saying, oh, well, women lie. Oh, these numbers are overblown. Who cares? What if they are overblown? Who does that hurt? If they are overblown, let's just say that they were, which they're almost definitely not. Basically, everything we know says it's underreported.
Oh, way underreported. God, if only, I just wish for some reason men had to spend like a month as a woman, and then you just would not believe what it's like.
Let's just pretend that those statistics were skewed in the wrong direction. Good. Men should be scared. When men go on a date with a woman, they should be nervous. They should be hyper aware of what consent looks like. They should be hyper aware of what consent sounds like. It's a good thing. Like, I 100%
enthusiastic consent is what everyone should be seeking.
I was not raised this way. My understanding of consent, in a lot of ways, like, it continues to grow, but this is a good thing. People should be hyper aware of what consent is. And when the men that are like, oh, I'm just afraid that some girl she's gonna falsely accuse me. Well, it's hard to get into a situation where somebody falsely accuses you. It really, really is. I don't know anybody that's been falsely accused. I know plenty of people who have been accused and convicted. I take that back. I know one person who's been falsely accused. That's it.
I'm checking. Yeah, it's Kevin. A fail. Absolute fail. That was. I can't even think about what like our next topic because it's just like I feel sick to my stomach hearing that rhetoric. And it's, Kevin is the norm, more often than not, this is how men feel. And yeah, women, we're tired. We need allies. Like, I appreciate, Jay, how you're raising your daughter, because we need more men like you.
Look, and it's not a heroic thing.
No,
it is not. I'm not doing anything I'm not out there like solving problems. I'm not out there making sure this doesn't happen. Like, just simply acknowledging that people are victims and that there is a problem. That's it. Like, that's a bridge too far for so many men. That's crazy. It's literally the least we can do. Literally the least I can do is say, is look at these statistics and accept the outcome of a court case. That's literally the least I could do. And Kevin's not even willing to go there. We're not willing to go there. And I would imagine when he looks at any of these cases, I would imagine he was probably one of those people who thought Cosby was falsely accused. He's probably one of those people that thinks, well, he probably doesn't think Clinton was falsely accused.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein.
Railroaded.
These women got something out of it, so it wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
They got a job in a movie.
Yeah, they got a bunch of money, so it's not SA anymore. That's what he's saying about.
That was one of his arguments. He did make that claim. Absolutely, that if you're seeking to be made whole in any way, the absolute least that women deserve after being SA'd is some money. You know what? Because let me tell you, that helps zero. The scar is still there forever, but at least maybe you could get some money and, like, I don't know, buy a weighted blanket to soothe your anxiety, at the very least.
Yeah, and let's just say on the off chance that largely you've gone through therapy, you're able to live a normal life, you've been able to put this almost completely behind you, and then you just want to be vindictive and take the money of the person who SA'd you, good. Do it.
Absolutely.
Why not? Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Even if these women have moved on and they just want to sue the shit out of a rich guy, who cares? Great, do it. Have drastic consequences. Make sure people know that if you did something 40 years ago, you can still be sued later. Terrific. I don't care. Even if E. Jean Carroll was coming out now, I was like, I'm good, but I just want his money. I want to see him suffer. I'd still be like, all right, that's fine.
Fair enough.
At least,
and do it for the next victims. You know what I'm saying? This man has a string of claim. You know what I mean? Like, this happened to her decades ago, right? Think how many people he's left in his wake. Bankrupt them. Make it harder for them to victimize people. The few women that have the courage, like what E. Jean Carroll, like I didn't have the courage to face my abuser. I admit that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't, because I knew what would happen and I didn't want to be publicly humiliated. I didn't want to have Kevin. You know what I mean? I didn't want to have the Kevin experience.
Yeah. They had that policy change at BYU for your violations up until like 2 years ago. You could be reported if you broke the rules, and the honor code would call you in and they would punish you. But what was happening is there were a few instances where girls went and reported that they were assaulted, and then they also got kicked out of school because they were in a boys' apartment and or they had been drinking, right? And they wound up getting kicked out of school. So what happened is nobody reported it anymore. And the police on campus are BYU police. They're not Provo police. They're not state police. They
their
work
own
for
private
the college.
Police force.
Right, and they would also report things to the honor code. So what you had is like when people say like there's a grape culture, like that's what we're talking about. You give somebody an honor code and you put somebody who's a victim in a position where they don't want to admit that they're a victim. Either because they're worried about the retaliation from perhaps the person who did it, or because it will actually it'll affect their lives in other ways. Yeah. They will lose scholarships. I had a friend, I slept on someone's floor at BYU one time. I got locked out of my car in a snowstorm, and the curfew was like 10. You could be in their apartment till 10, but not in the bedrooms. I got locked out of my car.
Was there carpet?
Yeah, shut up. I was broke. I couldn't pay for somebody to get me a key. It was too late to call my parents. So I slept on the floor on carpet, my old friend. And that person, because they had prior, something else had happened to him once before. They got kicked out of school just for me sleeping on their floor.
That's crazy.
And making a mess.
Yeah. It's the honor. Yeah, exactly. That is grape culture.
And they brought a cutout of the carpet to the honor code thing. They're like, give us a sample? I was like, I'm never going to do it.
I mean, Kevin literally said, I don't know if anyone remembers. We're all scarred from Kevin, but I just want to point out one more horrific thing that claim he was making. That if there's not an eyewitness to an assault, that it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like a tree falling if no one's there to see it, did it fall? Is what we're basically, is what Kevin's saying. Like, I can't.
Yeah, like, you know why? And you know why people don't do that with eyewitnesses? Because they don't want to be stopped. That's why.
Exactly.
They specifically, I don't know if you guys know
committing
this
a
about
crime.
people.
I'm like, gather round. Gather round.
I'm about to shoplift, everyone. Come check this out.
Exactly.
I want to make sure there's
Get your
lots of
cameras
eyewitnesses. Yeah, that would be devastating. I hope he doesn't have a daughter. That would be, and if he does, I hope nothing bad ever happens to her. Because that'd be a tough way. Like, it'd be tough to negotiate those thoughts in your own head.
Someone said you didn't ask the carpet for consent.
That, you know what? That's true. I will fully admit that. And if that carpet ever decides to litigate against me, I will admit my wrongdoing, and I will pay.
Jay versus the carpet.
Yeah, and look, I'll be paying for the Stanley steamer. That'll be
a deep
lifetime
clean
supply of Stanley steamer.
Oh, you know what? Okay, sorry. I don't know what you know my ADHD brain. This is just a random pivot, but I was looking at the outline. I just want to say it. Did you know before recently, or maybe you didn't see it yesterday because there was just so much news it got buried, but that Mike Pence has a brother in Congress?
So they feel like they can name their own successor, which in some
oh
of
my
these
God,
cases,
he
would be
looks
good.
like Mike. That's kind of scary. But like just weird, you know.
He looks like if Mike Pence and Roger
Stone had a baby. Oh my God, he does.
Yeah.
That's so scary. I was like looking at his picture. I'm like, I've seen this face before. Like it's Roger Stone and Mike Pence's love child. That is so disturbing.
Yeah.
Ew. Guys, tap the screen. Let's get to 325. Great job tapping today.
Yeah, great tapping. All right, who's here? Miss Julie. Hi, Miss Julie.
Hi, Miss Julie.
Sorry to make you wait. I was just trying to calm down a little bit. I saw you in there, but I was just trying to calm down first before we took you.
That's okay, honey. Can you hear me all right?
You sound lovely.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just realized I was talking into the wrong phone. Oh, well, I had to go on errands today, and of course I had my mama take me to the dispensary, and, well, I wanted to partake of the products when I got home.
Yes, ma'am.
She even talked me into getting a pizza, Jay. So I treated myself to a pizza. Got so gassy, it was greasy. It was greasy, I tell you. I farted so hard, I blew up my Depends. I filled them out like an application, I tell you. Split the side seam clear open.
That's not Miss Julie, that's not a fart. I hate to break this to you, but if stuff comes out, it's no longer a fart.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't want
to. Yeah.
I didn't want to say shard on the show, Graham.
Okay, I appreciate that.
But I guess
Thank
I've
you for
said
looking out.
worse.
That's true.
Like I was going to tell Kevin, you dumb shit. I could eat a bowl of alphabet soup and shit a better argument than you, Kevin. Do you hear me?
Yeah, he should have just said, I despise women. That's all
He
Kevin
should.
needed to say. And that we could have wrapped it up, you know, like, I despise women. That's Kevin.
He could have just said, I am a walking red flag and my goal is to ruin women's lives. Oh, you know what, Felice, on a serious note, before I continue with my nonsense, you said something about not having the courage to confront. You know what you had the courage to do? You had the courage to heal, and you had the courage to survive, and you had the courage to thrive. And you are fucking amazing, Felice, and I love you. you so tremendously much. Don't you ever sell yourself short for how you handled anything in the past. Okay.
I'm literally crying. Thank you, Miss Julie. That's so nice.
mean,
I'm crying. Okay. I'm
will
going to cry
fight a
silently.
motherfucker for you. Okay, I will fight a motherfucker for you. Oh, Jay. Well, I got myself cleaned up, so now I'm back in my chair just tripping balls.
Good.
I got a problem, Jay. You know my trip's coming up, and you know it's going to be 2 weeks from. No, you know what? I learned this from Miss Linda when I was in the big house. It's going to be 16 days and a wake up, Jay. Ooh, I got a violation. I got a violation warning. That's 16 days and a wake up, Jay.
Jeez.
I learned that from Miss Linda. Yeah, there's a slight fly in the ointment, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Jay, most people would be excited about this, but it strikes fear and terror into my already cold, dead heart.
Well, no, why are you scared?
We're flying first class, Jay.
The toilet's
Jay,
closer.
I'm not the kind of girl that belongs in first class.
Oh, you are.
Oh,
This is your moment. This is your pretty woman moment.
I need to buy a traveling outfit or something, Jay. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have anything fancy enough for first class. What if I go up in there and they try and send me back to steerage?
You show them your ticket and you say, "Get fucked. I'm staying here." And
I hope it's not a Boeing 737 because the wall
like a
might just come apart.
like a
The plane might
nine-
come apart in midair.
I know. It's a 737 900 series, and I'm guessing 900 series and 9 Max might have something in common, but it scares the living hell out of me.
Well, having Felice talk about the potential of it falling apart mid-flight probably helped. That's probably good.
That absolutely made things better, but I thought I saw on the news this morning that they said the FAA was going to ground them all, so maybe I don't
they
have
did
to
ground them all, allegedly.
Yeah, maybe I don't have to go on this trip that I'm scared of. With the parasailing and the snorkeling and
That's awesome. You're going to have so much fun. So many experiences.
Yeah, I'm going to do it on the TikTok Live. I am.
Awesome.
You're going to parasail on TikTok Live?
I'm going to parasail on TikTok
That's
Live.
an awesome
I
idea.
can't wait.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Did you say what country or where are you?
Felice, we're going to Key West for 9 days for my mama's 80th birthday.
That's awesome. I love Key West.
Well, I've never been. I've never been on a vacation like this. And one of my brothers, he's paying for the entire trip for everybody.
It's very LGBTQ friendly, Key West.
Well, we're staying.
I went there
next
for like
door
a party, like some sort of like lesbian party. That was awesome.
Wow,
when I lived in Florida. So
I'd
maybe
like
there'll
to
be one of
attend
those going on.
those. I'd like to attend one of those.
I know. I'm just
maybe someone
had a
will
great
go up in
experience.
my parasail with me.
Exactly.
Just
That's what I'm
bring a
saying.
little
You could fall in
stowaway.
love. This could be it.
This could be Miss Linda's second act. You know, I got to move on at some point.
Who is Miss Linda? I know. I don't know.
Miss Linda was my prison girlfriend, Miss Felice. After we had been having a hell of a time after we got that food poisoning, from when the pigeons had nested in the kitchen and poisoned us all with that airborne disease. And well, I was using toilet paper rolls for a cane because they took my real metal one from me on account I could hurt somebody with it. But we all had the Hershey squirt so bad that they kept taking all the toilet paper off the rolls, and I was nothing but hobbling down the hall with 9 pieces of cardboard tubing stuck together. I was uncertain on my feet, Felice. And then I slipped in an errant pile of poop and went flying ass over tea kettle, landed with my hair in it. And Miss Linda was the lovely lady who laid those empty toilet paper tubes aside and helped me to the shower and lovingly washed all that errant poop out of my silver locks.
That's love.
It was true love.
That's love for sure.
It was. It's been the pigeons. It's always the pigeons.
The birds are up to something. I do agree with that.
They are. So I tell you, we are going to have to come up with a solution for first class. I can't be blown out of pens. I snort when I laugh, I fart when I cough, and I pee when I breathe.
Tell them that in first class.
Yeah, I think I'm first class material. That's it. It's time to convince myself I belong. Do they serve alcohol?
Oh, that's the point. Everyone's drinking. So yeah, I think you should do a monologue like the one you're doing now. Just refuse to stop talking. I've had
Just
some
tell 'em the
great
story.
first class experiences. Like, sometimes you'll meet awesome people, and then sometimes it's like, get me out of here.
Well, I'm sitting next to my mother, and my mother is where I get all my fears of the first class. That they're going to be judging my clothes and my hair and trying to decide if my teeth are real or if I got them out of the budget bin at the Acme warehouse. I think that's about what that bitch Sheila paid for them.
Not Sheila.
That bitch. Well, it was nice that she gave me some replacements, I can eat my gummies a whole lot quicker when I'm gnawing on them with my plastic teeth instead of trying to suck them. Because, I better leave before I get another violation. I don't want to get banned.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. If Kevin ever comes back, can I come up and read him the riot act? Because I didn't do it today out of respect to people needing to get over that bullshit.
Yeah, if Kevin ever comes back here, like that's what we should just do is just let
Just open up the floor. Yeah.
Just open it up. I'll come up and have
victims of
coffee.
SA can just take turns screaming at him.
Oh, I've got some stories, including why the police told me not to pursue it. But I'll save that for another day. Yeah. All right. Well, I love you, dears, both. Felice, do not forget how precious and lovely you are.
That means a lot. You don't know how much.
Do not ever forget that. And I will see you all later tonight for the debate.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Miss Julie.
That's tonight. Yay!
It's tonight.
We're debating.
Wait, I saw something on the television. I don't know if you guys have seen it since you've been on. Now, I listen to the show religiously, but I do keep the TV on silent so I can see the breaking news.
About the Nevada ballot?
Oh, Nevada ballot, my ass. I don't know anything about that. No, Judge Engeron said that Trump cannot speak at closing tomorrow.
Oh, I saw that. I did see that. No, because Trump, he could. They were going to let him do part of like the lawyers' closing arguments, but he would not agree to not just spew BS. Will you follow the rules that the lawyers have to follow? And he's like, no.
He would not be speaking. And then you missed on the House floor, Hunter Biden came in and all that commotion ensued. And who is that lady? That white lady from South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, Nancy Mace. Yeah, we played that clip, Miss Julie, at the beginning.
Oh, my heavens. Well, I was still out with my mom running errands. But to hear her tell Hunter Biden that he was using his white privilege.
I know. It's the delusion for me. The delusion.
Is the pot calling the kettle copper? Come on now.
He was like laughing while she was talking. He was like trying not to laugh.
I'm being told that Marjorie Taylor Greene is back to showing dick pics in Congress. That I haven't found
did she pull him out
confirmation
again?
But that's what I'm being told right
Oh
now.
my
So
God.
everybody run to C-SPAN if you want to see Hunter's
Well,
dick.
I will say I did look out of curiosity.
I did too.
And having formerly masqueraded as a heteroflexible woman when I was really just queer. But no, I was curious. I had seen some. I wondered what his looked like. I was not disappointed. It was worth what they were talking about. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm stoned out of my mind.
Yes, ma'am. I love you, Miss Julie. Bye.
I'm so out of my mind.
The gummies hit
Love
a little
it.
earlier today than normal.
Love it.
Yeah. Look, it's an impressive thing. Hunter Biden is an impressive specimen. We'll just leave it at that. Great reminder from Julie. Tonight, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can do the math backwards. We'll be hosting the debates. That's on YouTube. The link is in my bio for the YouTube. Make sure when you're there you subscribe. If you want to join the Discord, I know that the bingo game is in the works right now. You can play bingo with everybody else on the Discord. I think we've added Banana Republic to the bingo card tonight. So we look forward to seeing you guys there, and then we'll be back Thursday morning. Felice, any last words?
Yeah, it's just Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis debating. I thought Chris Christie was in there, but he didn't make it, so it will just be a 1v1. Which
this
will be
isn't
cool.
the GOP debate. This is the one that they agreed to do together.
Yeah.
So this isn't. I don't think this is sponsored by the GOP.
No, it is. It is.
Is it really?
Yes. Vivek didn't qualify, and Chris. I'm reading an article about it right now. Vivek didn't qualify, and either did Chris Christie. And Vivek, remember Vivek went on Twitter and tried to say all these things and say like, oh, I didn't want to be there. And he's like, they won't use these like fake polls, like True Social polls to qualify Vivek for the debate. He wasn't allowed to be part of it.
Oh, I didn't realize the GOP was putting it on. I didn't. I mean, I guess it's not. It's put on by CNN.
Yeah, CNN.
Okay, so CNN shows up. But I wonder, because they already had an agreement for Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis to just debate just each other. So I'm wondering if that's why CNN was like, you don't meet this. You don't meet the requirement. I don't know.
Well, yeah, Vivek needs to go. They all, just to answer my final thought is about, you asked me the question, like, yeah, if the Republicans want to dethrone Trump as the nominee or anyone to have a chance, then yeah, Nikki or Ron needs to drop out. Look, they should have done it sooner. That's the problem. What percentage? You said they were like neck and neck. Do you remember what percentage there? Like, yeah, one of them needs to take the other's points.
It was something like 17 or 18%, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then obviously
it could be
Christie,
like 34.
Christie has like 6 or 7%. And so, yeah, you could get up around 35 to 40% potentially.
Yeah, like this debate is pretty much for like which one of them needs to drop out because it needs to happen.
Going on. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. In Iowa, there is other polling. There's some polling that from CBS News, which is pretty accurate in Iowa, that has DeSantis at 22% and Haley at 13%.
Oh, wow.
So
wow, that's
yeah.
Okay.
Be interesting. I expect DeSantis in Iowa to beat Haley, and I expect Haley to beat DeSantis in New Hampshire.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're not voting for.
And then maybe it's South Carolina.
Honest.
I don't imagine either of those two drop out until after South Carolina, which is good for Haley.
Yeah,
hopefully. If she can't win South Carolina, it's over.
Yeah, and it's hard because I don't think Ron will ever drop out, but he should. Like, I think that like countrywide, yeah, he should drop out and let Nikki run. Nobody wants Ron. He can't control his face. We'll see tonight. Has Ron gained control of his facial muscles?
Stay tuned. Tune in tonight to find out if Ron is.
We shall find out. Yeah, is that on the bingo card? Ron's facial muscle. Ron losing control of his facial muscles.
I don't know. How tall will his heels be? Find out tonight. We'll see you guys a little bit later. Look for some. Felice put out a bunch of content today. Obviously, follow her TikTok for that. It'll also be up on our YouTube here shortly. And we'll see you guys tonight. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the likes. 344,000 likes today. You guys killed it. Thank you for all the support. Sorry about Kevin. We'll try not to remember
That's too bad,
him.
Kevin.
We'll
all right. Bye, guys. Bye.